what we do here is go back.
Hello everyone, how are we all? Apologies for the slight tardiness to the proceedings this evening. I went for a piss and it turned into a rather more tricky affair. It is what it is. Howdy, how are we all? We're going to be doing a thing with No Justice MTG tonight. Yes, stick around for that I guess, and give me money please. I'm hungry.
Hey Kev, how you doing?
Hello there, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. What was no question time though? I'm at a loss. I'm at a complete loss.
It is, I mean, honestly, it's like with the football. They shouldn't put it on and then just take it away. You can't go cold turkey. When
No,
you're
100%.
when you're in a QT hole, you get the shakes, the cold sweats. Oh, I need gammon shouting ill-informed nonsense at me. What's going on?
That's the thing, right? Is just like the football, the politics is going on forever,
and will never stop. Yes, this is true. Anyway, how have you been? I can only imagine that at least one world leader or former world leader will probably be shot during our streams. That does seem to have been a pattern, given our last stream. So, like, who do we think will be assassinated during tonight's stream?
I don't know. One of the actually, I tell you what it will be. It'll be one of the military leaders from the coups in either Mali, Niger, or Burkina Faso. There's either going to be an internal conflict between the three of them, or somebody from the old government is going to try and assassinate them.
You know
that's my bet.
I'm going to go a bit left field and go with Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres.
No, we can't have Guterres. He's great.
Well, exactly. That's my point. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And unfortunately, because it's probably going to be some far right knobhead, he'll be good as a sniper and actually fucking hit his target. You know,
Mm.
just saying. Anyway, now I've got us both banned from all platforms, I imagine. Um, uh, we've got some Britbong politics to take a look at tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What have you been making of the King's Peach?
I mean, it was all stuff we already knew. Like nothing new is there really at all.
Yeah,
The debate was like 90% boring with 10 minutes of interesting stuff going on.
pretty
But
much.
Stephen Flynn shouted at Keir Starmer about the two-child benefit cap, and Ed Davey told everybody that he was into piss play. So
He did say water sports, which, okay, interestingly, last night I wanted to find that clip, so online, like an idiot, I typed in water sports into Twitter, right? I didn't Google it because I thought, well, there won't be anything weird there or anything. I didn't, and one of the first images was a big, massive cock.
as you do.
So I had to go back and edit that stream, which was nice. Put a little blur effect on a big penis that was on screen. As you do.
Good.
Anyway, so Ed Davey was into water sports. I suppose one of the only interesting interventions was from the former Home Secretary Priti Patel, who basically tried to retcon the last 20 years of Tory politics, basically by saying that everything was fine. To be honest, it was wonderful. Yeah, no need to. Why are my neighbours shouting now? It is quite late. Shut the fuck up, dickheads. Anyway, so apologies if you can actually hear someone scream. I don't have someone locked in my basement. That's my next door neighbour in their garden shouting for some fucking reason. Anyway,
As you do.
exactly. I live in the most salubrious neighbourhood. You understand? Now they're all right with me shouting, doing dick jokes at 2 a.m. So give and take. Yes. So the debate about the King's Speech has been rather boring, as it's bound to be, because the thing is, in theory, it's a very important part of it, and that's why Nigel Farage, should be doing his fucking job rather than America. Pathetic,
Ladies
really
and gentlemen,
pathetic that he's gone there.
we got him.
He really shouldn't be
Victory
paid
is
for his time
ours.
there. Like, they're about to go on summer vacation, right, or summer holiday, whatever. He could fuck off to America and support Donald Trump then. But then the RNC's already happened. He's a clout beast. That's all he is. I told you he'd get bored being an MP. It didn't last a fortnight before he fucked off.
Literally. Although it was funny, Liz Truss being there, Emily Maitlis going around asking people in the RNC, "What's your opinion on Liz Truss?" And they'll go, "Who?
Who's that? Yeah. What's that?
Like,
Yeah.
not even Lettuce Lady is famous around there."
True. Although, brilliantly, did you see the crowd, the massive throngs of people that Boris Johnson got into his room when he was speaking?
Yeah, for like fucking
Yeah.
15 people.
Someone said he would have gotten a bigger audience if he'd used this as his "Take Your Children to Work" day. Probably true, in all honesty.
True.
Although, how many would he bring along? I'm not sure even he knows, because it could be 6, it could be 7. Who fucking knows how many kids he's got? He doesn't. One of them might be in the House of Lords. We don't know. Anyway. Yes. So tumultuous times. It's Jova. It's definitely Jova, right?
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, it's Jovid, it's Jova and out, Jova and Jout. I don't know. Either way,
Are we now playing in Jova time?
Literally, it literally is Jova time. Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he's got COVID. Which no, hear me out. America and Israel have a very strong relationship, and their leaders often regularly meet. Joe Biden is currently got COVID and is not masking, and is set to meet with Benjamin Netanyahu next week. I'm just saying, Joe, you metaphorically kiss him every time you meet. Do it literally. That would be. I personally would be in support of that. Well, can you transmit COVID through the penis? I don't know.
I don't know.
If
Either way.
I don't know if it's
Oh wait,
done that way.
he's got presidential immunity. Just fucking, I don't know.
He hasn't. But that doesn't extend to like matters of a physical nature. Like he's not immune from diseases.
I am become immortal.
Exactly. Imagine that, you with the Reaper, you just go, no, I've got presidential immunity, mate. He's like, oh, fuck, he has. Oh, bollocks, what do I even do now? He's just in limbo forever. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm all in favour of him coughing as regularly as possible on not on Vladimir Putin. I mean, he can do it to Putin as well, but that's not what I meant at all. On Benjamin Netanyahu.
Doing a Bolsonaro.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Jairing this shit. And... But yeah, then fucking off forever, because, like, come on, mate. Like, it's never been more Jova. Let's sort it out. And then...
Who's your...
Well, let's do exactly who next. I'm on the Cenk train. Cenk 2024, bitches. Let's go. Because, I mean if they're going to have a joke candidate who can't win, Cenk Yuga. Let's have it. For the
it might as well be. It might as well be. The thing as well, that I think it basically, it's in seriousness. It basically has to be Kamala, right?
Pretty much, it looks that way, yeah.
Because of campaign financing.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I don't think she can win either.
She polls better than Biden does.
She polls better than Biden does, but I think fucking cholera polls better than Biden does. So, like, I'm not sure that's really a thing. I'm only playing. She stands a better chance, but, like, the thing is, she's quite an ineffective communicator. I don't know if you've seen her interviewed. She looks fucking mental. So I don't know that plays well during the course of a long and shitty campaign.
I mean, who would you have? Who would be your Kamala Harris vice president pick for the ticket that you think would be enough to win everybody over? Who's your choice for? I guess Kamala and Cenk maybe.
Well, as he literally can't run, and that's sort of the joke. Literally no, because he's not actually a natural born American citizen and thus can't ever be.
Is he not? Oh yeah, it's born fucking Turkey, isn't it?
Yeah. He argued that would be fine, but actually no, they've literally already ruled on this, Cenk. You're a joke candidate. Anyway, which is a bit silly, because I mean we had Boris Johnson who wasn't fucking born here, and that worked out fine for everyone. So
yeah,
it's all good.
I mean, I'm all in on the Harris Pritzker ticket. Let's go.
I don't know a lot about them, to be honest. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not sure there's anyone that can unify. Is there? Is there anyone out there? He'd probably just have to be some boring ass white dude, I imagine.
I mean, as long as it's not Gavin Newsom.
Would he want to be VP? I think.
No, I guess he'd want to wait for the presidential run for next time round.
Yeah, I don't see him playing second fiddle. Especially to someone else. And also, then you've got 2 Californians on the ticket, which is a disaster, because you're going to have to go to the Midwest and try and claim, like, we're not coastal elites. Yeah, good luck.
Well, that's why I was saying Pritzker, because he's Illinois.
Yeah, that might work. Yeah.
Yeah, Pritzker is weaker. I mean, you could have Gretchen Whitmer, but there's no way the American public is voting for a double woman ticket. They're even less likely to vote for.
Also, would you give up being a governor to become VP?
Well, but then again, Pritzker would be giving up being governor as well.
No,
I mean,
exactly,
would there be? I guess you could have a senator. Could you get Mark Kelly maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, there are lots of not very great options. It's almost like the Democratic Party is actually a pile of dog shit. Literally just filled with awful people who don't know what they're doing and can't govern very well. Unfortunately.
I mean, clearly what we actually need to do is have the Harris-Sanders ticket, and then when Kamala Harris immediately just gets, like, sick and dies, like, for some reason.
Right. Oh yes, that's how Bernie can still win, bitches.
That's literally how Bernie can still win.
Let's fucking go. Well, I mean, I've said jokingly in the past, but frankly, he might be the best candidate for it. Jimmy Carter's still got a second term, and he's still technically alive. He's technically alive as the current fucking candidate. So let's go. You know.
The thing is that even though it's obviously a meme at this point, but I genuinely think that probably the candidate that would be the best at trying to win over the Trump, the people who are kind of Trump curious, probably just is Sanders anyway.
Probably, but there's no way they ever let that happen.
No,
they
exactly.
Worked so hard to keep him out of the presidency in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no way that they would actually have him on the ticket. But if they actually wanted to win, I think that would be the best way of doing it. Like, people vote Trump because they want to be anti-establishment, and of course, that's the only Democratic Party potential candidate who would be anti-establishment, because he's an independent, not a Democrat.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye out on American politics for you, because it's a fucking wild ride. The RNC's been fun as well. Interesting that this is the let's take the heat out of the political dialogue situation, which has had the most rabid freaks you've ever seen in your life. A cavalcade of circus monsters screaming about immigrants. They're going to come in and rape your guinea pig. Like, it's just mad. Absolutely insane shit. And they've all been wearing that stupid fucking ear pillow thing. Look,
oh my god, it's so cringe!
It's the cultist shit I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god, it's the only thing cultier than that are the turfs you put on the dinosaur costumes.
Yeah, yes. It has a feeling of a kind of, it's a geek pie type thing, isn't it? There's definite geek pie influences for those who've watched Nathan Barley, a show that ran for one series 20 years ago. Yeah.
It's registered in the Cook Islands.
What?
Sorry, it's registered in the Cook Islands. It's why it's trashback.cock.
Oh, sorry. Yes, okay. I was like, I thought you were making a serious point about, like, tax or something. I was like, what? It's registered in the Cook Islands? Oh, no, that's from the show as well. Sorry, yes, my bad. Yeah. And Sugar Ape, as the magazine
Sugar Ape,
it becomes... Yeah. Anyway. It's trashback.com. Is it still going, that website? It is literally still there. Geek Pie, yeah. It's literally just that GIF, though, I think. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, enough. No one cares. Do you want to watch? We've got two main items on the agenda. Do you want to watch Carla Denyer's maiden speech in the House of Commons during the green energy debate, or do you want to watch Chad Supremo, Mick Lynch on Newsnight?
Should we start off with Carla and then we'll finish with the Mick Lynch's dessert?
Yeah. And he is a tasty, tasty treat. Although, look, Carla Denyer in her own way as well. Let's not be
Drink.
Let's not be weird. Let's be equal opportunities creeps.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, King's Speech debate, specifically the bit focused on green energy and all of that shite. Carla Denyer made her maiden speech. Now, the maiden speech is basically, as you would suggest from the name, it's the first speech a person gives when they get into Parliament, and it's sort of seen as setting the tenure, the tone of what they're going to do for their contributions and all the rest of it. And I thought she spoke okay. I think it went all right.
I've not watched it yet, so it's gonna be a first-time reaction.
Oh, okay. Well, I have pre-watched. I will be entirely honest. Yes. I need to actually show everybody on the screen. There we go. Right, let's get into it.
I call Carla Denyer to make her maiden speech.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I'm most grateful for you calling me during today's debate. Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Carla Denyer. My pronouns are she, her. I'm very much looking forward.
Woke.
Pronouns in MP. No.
Pronouns in speech.
Unbelievable. Honestly, that will have melted Tory brains.
Absolutely.
What we need the Minister for Common Sense back. It needs to happen.
Fucking pronouns. Fucking gender ambiguity. Fucking current day Californian shit.
Literally. So, I mean, again, for those who are wondering the difference electing a Green would make to Parliament, just that alone is brilliant, because it will annoy the fuck out of the people who deserve to be angry because their lives are shit, and they're shit because they're bad people and they deserve bad things.
True. But we now have pronouns in Hansard.
Yes.
First time ever.
Probably not, but yes. The joke works.
To getting to know you all. I congratulate the honourable members for Ealing Sample, Doncaster East and the Isle of Axholme, and Kensington and Bayswater on your really interesting maiden speeches. I also want to take a moment to honour the member for Oxford West and Abingdon on her very compelling speech about the route to peace in Gaza and Israel. I look forward to working with all of you newly elected MPs and, in fact, everybody in this place in pursuit of a better future for our constituents. I will return to the shape of this future shortly, but first I want to look back for a moment and to thank the people of Bristol Central for making history and electing me as the first...
That cheeky little smile. That's delightful. Like, there's just a slight smile, and like, she's actually genuine. That's someone who's genuinely pleased. In Parliament, there's so much bluff and bluster, and it's all fucking performance and wank. That's just someone who's happy about being elected, and that's fucking dope. Can we all just have a moment of celebration for, like, so a genuine moment in Parliament, a moment of actual sincerity? Love it.
Absolutely. How long's that going to last?
The city.
Oh no, I mean the system will crush her like a tiny little pixie. Yes.
And also, as far as I'm aware, the first bisexual MP for the constituency. We are
woke.
True. Although I'm sure Thangam Debonair, in trying to win the seat back, will go on about how much she loves Minge. Just because you've got to, haven't you? You've got to fight woke with woke. It's the only answer.
Woke with woke, yeah.
As a city, rightly proud of our firsts. In 1371, and don't worry, I'm not going to do every year. In 1371, the town of Bristol was the first in England to be given the status of a county. In 1739, John Wesley founded the very first Methodist chapel, the New Room, in what is now the very heart of my constituency, Bristol Central. In 2015, the city became the first in the UK to be awarded the European Green Capital Award.
And in 2020 or whatever the fuck it was, they threw that slave owner statue in the water, which was fucking.
That's such a based moment. Yeah, the Colston statue.
Let's go.
Absolutely, absolutely.
He looked thirsty. Well, though, he wanted a drink. Let's have it.
There was a point she made about someone called like John Wesley designing something, and there are certain words in my vocabulary that have been ruined forever by references. And when she said Wesley, the only thing my brain went is, shut up, Wesley. It's the only thing I can think of now.
Yeah. It's fair enough, because honestly, he really fucking should.
Exactly.
In 2016, the city elected Marvin Rees and thus became the first major European city to elect a mayor of black African heritage. And what is widely agreed to be Banksy's first large stencil, The Mild Mild West, was painted in 1999 in Stokes Croft in my constituency. In fact, on a wall just round the corner from
Why are you celebrating graffiti, thus criminality? This is an outrage. I, for one, won't stand our legislators.
5 years! Conspiracy to commit a public nuisance of graffiti. 5 years in the slammer.
Yes. So, I mean, yeah, we should probably mention that. Some people from Just Up Oil were sentenced to 5 years in jail for being in the way of some traffic.
No. The people who were sentenced to years, they didn't even get in the way of the traffic. They went in a Zoom meeting where other people were talking about standing in front of traffic.
Yes. And just for, just as by way of comparison to the kind of criminality that doesn't get prison time, the very same judge, who, by the way, look at that image, everyone. America, when you think, oh, Britain seems like quite a cool place, imagine that it's this cunt in a powdered wig sending you to jail. Literally, like it's the fucking 16th century.
Wow.
Anyway.
Drugged school children and used them to masturbate.
Yeah.
12-month suspended sentence by the same judge.
Yeah, this is the judge who just sentenced those people for planning to be a nuisance. A pederast who drugged school children and used them to masturbate got no jail time.
I suppose it was a suspended sentence.
Yeah, suspended sentence. So, literally didn't serve a day in jail for sexually abusing children he'd drugged. So, in case you were wondering, like, imagine for a second this story came out of Russia, or Iran, or North Korea. The Western media would be absolutely fucking outraged. It's authoritarian madness. You're sentencing people for planning to protest. Oh my god. It's like George Unwin's 1985. It's an outrage. But no, this is fine. This is normal. Yeah. Britain is a profoundly stupid place, and it should cease. frankly.
Absolutely. Sink into the ocean forever. Come climate change, please sink the UK.
Oh, Benjamin reference. Let's go. Oh.
When I first met a member of the Green Party, a meeting which rather changed the course of my life. Over the course of Bristol's history, of course, it unfortunately cannot and must not be disentangled from the UK's shameful and immoral history of colonialism and slavery.
Yeah.
Woke! Oh my god, this is just it's the woke mind virus infesting the mother of all
Absolutely.
parliaments.
First Bristol Central, next all 650 constituencies will have been taken over by the wokes. Also, I'm loving Shocker Adams' ivory blazer with the black shirt drip in the background.
That is nice. I don't know his name, this lad here in the pink suit. Again, definite pronouns in bio vibes. Love it.
Absolutely. It's obviously a Lib Dem. Again, there's so many Lib Dem MPs I don't know because they've got like 60 new ones or some shit.
Yeah, there's never been a time when there were so many Lib Dem MPs you'd never heard of some of them. 'Cause there was 10 of them, so you knew every one. But yeah, there's some fucking Serbs right now. More Serbs than at fucking Wimbledon. Let's go.
A 1499 voyage led by merchant William Weston of Bristol was the first expedition commanded by an Englishman to North America. And Bristol merchants have financed over 2,000 slaving voyages between 1698 and 1807. These ships carried over 500,000 enslaved Africans from Africa to slave labour in the Americas. A blue plaque on the 7 Stars Inn on Thomas Lane in the city centre marks how Thomas Clarkson...
We've had our assassination, by the way.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Not technically a leader as such, but a communicator, a news broadcaster for Fox News and a Trump loyalist. Lou Dobbs has been assassinated by old age. Veteran
the Reaper, the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, the Reaper strikes again. Honestly, you know what? Can we get some Dobbs in chat for the Grim lad? Absolutely loving his work right now. The long-time business... Exactly. News anchor who became one of Donald Trump's most vocal supporters has died on Thursday, aged 78. Only the good die young. Yeah, anyway, so that piece of shit's dead. Can we get some lols in chat? Because, I mean, look at him. Absolute fucking ghoul.
Wasn't even that old as well. Apparently 78 is old age in America. Well, it would be because they have a lower life expectancy than Cuba.
True. Although thankfully,
it's the miracle of capitalism, chat.
Although thankfully he wasn't a school child, otherwise his life expectancy would be a lot lower. Just saying. Anyway.
An anti-slavery activist, together with the Seven Stars landlord, collected testimonies from sailors in 1787 that were used as evidence here in Parliament. These statements played a role in the passing of the 1807 Slave Trade Act, which eventually led to the historic end of the transatlantic slave trade in enslaved Africans. Bristol Central's hugely successful M-Shed Museum highlights the anti-slavery movement alongside its exhibition about modern public protests, including the Bristol bus boycott, and it holds the infamous, now toppled Colston statue.
Ew. Love it.
Another Packwatch moment.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, although I have to say, the Bristol bus boycott doesn't have quite the same kind of romantic appeal as like the North American civil rights thing, because it's Bristol. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, imagine trying to do civil rights activism while sounding vaguely like a pirate. It just doesn't work, you know? Come on.
Yeah, it's like saying, comparing like the Gettysburg Address, I know, the Chipping Norton Address.
Yeah, it doesn't have the same vibe to it at all. It's not. Britain is not like a sexy place.
No, the Swindon speech.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, it's like the mild rebuke of the MP for Epping Forest.
Yeah, the milkshaking of Farage.
True.
Which is, to be fair though, it's basically the same. Having a milkshake thrown at you is basically the same as getting assassinated, and I know that because the BBC told me.
Yeah, exactly. They gave wall-to-wall coverage of Nigel Farage's... I mean, honestly, what about if he'd been lactose intolerant? Come on now.
What if it was acid and also a grenade and a member of the Al-Qassam brigade in that cup? It could have been anything. It could have been anything.
Well,
so
if he'd been in
that's the real danger
Doncaster, it
here.
would have been.
True, it would have been. Yeah, if he was in Doncaster, yeah, it would have been.
The exhibition points to the abolition campaign as the start of a British tradition.
Oh, we've had an absolute belter in chat. The Bolton Tea Party. Oh, come on now.
Bolton Tea
Come
Party.
on. Now we're cooking.
Campaigning for change.
I want to read out the
Today, the city
Boston
I
Tea
have proudly
Party.
called-
It's just Boston and Skegness.
Yeah, exactly. Boston in Lincolnshire. A town so shit that it's got it's highest.
Richard Tice.
I've been at, well, exactly, but I've been to its high point, and it's like a tiny little hill. It's just a flat place with nothing there except drug abuse and poverty. It's awful.
Isn't post-industrial Britain fantastic?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lovely place. Yeah, that's why you end up with people voting for fascists. Everybody, maybe make people's living standards bearable.
Fix material
home
conditions,
for
please.
15 years, and part of which I am now immensely proud to represent here in Parliament, is beginning to take responsibility for its history and continuing to lead the way when it comes to demanding change.
Honestly, look at the body language on these two Tories here. They just the contempt.
Oh, also Andrew Bowie on the front row now. That's how few MPs they've got to borrow people from Scottish Tories to fill the front bench.
Mad, isn't it? Yeah.
My favourite guy, Andrew Barry, is the one who tweeted out a picture of his fish and chips that he was eating in Parliament and then complained about the abuse that he got, which included such phrases as I can't trust Tories with fish and chips, I fucking hate them, Scottish Tory six-chip twat, and fewer chips on his plate than brain cells in his head.
Yeah. I remember the six-chip twat was very nice. Lovely moment.
Yeah.
Like most of the other esteemed members making their maiden speeches, I got the library note advising me that my remarks should not be politically contentious or critical. And I must admit to having struggled a little with how to...
What the fuck is the point of Parliament, man? It's such a shithouse. Yeah,
Yep.
We know you've been elected by the people of your constituency, but don't say anything or make it... There's no point in playing politics in Parliament.
Literally, I fucking hate that. I can't believe you're playing politics. And anybody that ever says that, it's just the most embarrassing shit you've ever heard.
Yeah, honestly, they don't know what they're talking about and can be safely ignored as the idiots that they are.
Indeed.
define that, given that I'm here first and foremost to demand and create change on behalf of my constituents.
Exactly, yeah.
In 1943, a slightly different shaped version of Bristol Central elected its first woman MP.
Whoa.
I can applaud that landmark moment, though not Lady Apsley's reported radical right-wing conservatism, imperialist, racist and anti-Semitic views, or
Woke! So woke!
Get in all of the woke points in.
Exactly.
We stand.
or
Absolutely.
that she apparently considered women first and foremost as wives and mothers.
Why the fuck did you run for Parliament then? Why weren't you in the kitchen?
True, yeah. Literally. It's like Just Pearly thing, does the same shit. Just like, she's supposed to be like this girl boss YouTuber megastar, and all she does is tell other women that they shouldn't be doing what she does. And I'm just like, apathy begins at home, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you should stay at home and just raise children. Where are your fucking kids then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you at? Okay. What, you've chosen to have a career over a family? Sounds woke to me.
She made
Just
her
wokey
maiden
things.
speech to the Commons
Yeah,
from her
exactly.
wheelchair, and it is widely reported defied convention by making a passionate appeal for the better treatment of disabled people. That's
Whoa.
one thing that I can agree on with her, though I don't think championing disabled rights should ever be considered controversial, and I hope that in this Parliament it never will be. Nor do I think that a voting system that makes every vote
Well, the Tories did happily, sort of genocide disabled people. With
They
austerity.
did.
So,
They did do a bit of an oopsie with the disabled
little
population in this
bit, little
country.
bit. Then the cheeky cunts tried to give out a fucking medal at the Paralympics and were surprised and offended that they got booed. You're lucky they didn't fucking lynch you from the high jump pole, you pricks. Jesus.
Count is an especially controversial proposition, and so I agree strongly too with another of my predecessors, Stephen Williams, the first Liberal Democrat ever to represent what was then Bristol West, who used his maiden speech to call for, as he put it, radical electoral reform and for first past the post to be swept away and replaced with a system of fair votes. Now is a good moment to recognise the contribution made by my immediate predecessor, Fangham Debonair, to Parliament, including
Being a prick. Just being a massive prick. Honestly, and this is a thing I've noticed, the Labour Party going after the Green Party in Parliament, a couple of really snidey little remarks and stuff that they're starting to aim at the Greens, which the Greens should be very proud about. Because they only attack people who are a threat to them, obviously.
Yep.
If you're an irrelevance,
Exactly.
they don't bother. There's a reason they don't release, press releases about the fucking monster raving loony party. Because they're not taking votes.
Or
off
the
anyone.
SDP, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then they're irrelevant. Whereas the Greens have become an actual force and are a genuine threat to Labour from the left, and so they now have to be attacked. You've gained a level of political relevance that you've never had before. Please use it wisely, and you can actually begin to capitalise on this. And then, who knows, maybe you have 10 MPs next time, or 20. Maybe you can actually build yourself into being something worthwhile. And then you can become the Lib Dems, but not sell out pricks who then ruin that. You could become that, which would be a force for betterment of British politics.
True. You know, it's also a force for betterment in British politics. Myself and Kevin being able to do this full time. So if you want to help support us to continue to be employed here on twitch.tv and youtube.com, you can first off, you can subscribe for $4.99 or for free with Twitch Prime by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, getting you a free Prime sub every single month. If you're watching on YouTube, pop over to our Twitch channels and you can gift one of us a free sub if you're an Amazon Prime customer and get all the benefits for subscribing as well, such as ad-free viewing and access to all our emotes. 100 bits gets you text-to-speech on my end, or 200 bits on Kev's end if you want messages read out. Super chats, I read all super chats regardless of value. Memberships on YouTube for access to those emotes at 99p, and you can also gift memberships on YouTube at 99p each. It is the best way to support the stream, to boost the stream in the algorithm and spread the love around as well.
True. Also, segue game on point. Love it.
It's true, absolutely.
including as Shadow Leader of the House of Commons, and I pay tribute to her work on behalf of Bristolians, particularly in support of the city's amazing creative...
Bristolians.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, if that's what you're going to go.
Yeah, my dad is Bristolian, so I've heard it a lot.
Okay, you know what? You can call yourselves what you like. That's fine. Fine, go for it.
Creative Industries as Shadow Secretary for Culture, Media and Sport. And to her groundbreaking move to hold what's believed to be the first ever constituency surgery for people on the autistic spectrum. Thank you, Fangham, for your service to the city.
Oh my god, even she was woke. Is there any amount of wokeness that Bristol won't engage in?
No, it is literally the woke capital of Britain, and quite frankly, I love it. We stand. We stand.
We do.
Yeah.
What unites all these threads is the idea of speaking up for what we believe in, regardless of whether others might find it contentious, and regardless too of whether we are swimming against the popular tide. As an MP, I am determined to fully honour Bristol Central's history of doing exactly that, using my voice as a force for good, for real change and for real hope, to create a brighter future for my constituents and for us all, the kind of future which the King's Speech is an opportunity to build. That bright future depends on the government taking bold action to tackle inequality and poverty through measures such as lifting the two-child benefit cap.
Well, no, they've set up a task force to look at child poverty. Because apparently,
Krangos and inshallah.
You need a task force to realise that actually forcing people into penury and starvation is bad for them. That's a thing. That's a thing you need to discuss and talk about by employing middle class people at enormous expense. Yeah.
True. You could do something which involves no extra administrative work and money and means testing to sink into, because it would just be an expansion of what you already got the systems in place for. We can have yet another Quango that is going to dither around for another fucking 18 months, and then they'll come to the same conclusions that we have.
And then the government will do nothing, successfully having kicked it into the long grass. And then
spent loads of money and wasted loads of money and time in the process.
Yeah, and then announce their decision to ignore the findings of that report at a conveniently horrific moment, say in the wake of a terrorist attack or a natural disaster, when no one's watching.
Mass council house building programme and giving councils the power to keep private rents under control. Private rents in Bristol increased by 52% over the last decade, while wages haven't even increased by a quarter. This is an untenable situation, but one that around half my constituents find themselves in as private renters. That bright future I talked about depends on defending and restoring our public services, from hospitals to dentists to schools to youth services. And it means looking to restore the UK's reputation on the world stage. This is a reputation that has been sorely damaged by Brexit.
Here.
And I know I speak for the majority of Bristol Central when I say that we must be open and active in our efforts to rebuild stronger links with Europe and work eventually towards a future where the UK can rejoin the EU.
Here.
Did you see the Liberals soying out like fuck about Keir Starmer at the European political is it community or convention? I forget which one.
A European political convention.
Convention. There we go. Soying out because he said we will never leave the ECHR. And you're like, okay. I mean that's good. That's better than the previous Prime Minister who threatened to do so he could get his Rwanda flights going. But like I'm sorry, I'm not. He's a former human rights lawyer. I would expect him to say that's not like I'm not giving him a pat on the back for that.
Also, like they always said they weren't going to leave. Like there's been no intimations at all that there was any reason for them to leave.
Yeah.
Like what is funny is them soying out over Keir Starmer when he's literally been on the make Brexit work train for ages.
Yeah. Well, and also, them going, well, look, he's committed to human rights and Britain's place in the rules-based order. And I'm like, okay, so he's going to actually listen to the legal advice then and stop selling Israel weapons.
Indeed. It's very funny that there was the I say it was funny, it's harrowing. Funny in the worst kind, sorry. In that Oxfam said that the amount of water in Gaza has fallen by 98% since the invasion.
Yeah.
And just, Israel does have that right. It is an ongoing situation.
She does have a right to defend herself.
But obviously, it has to be done under international law, which I definitely understand as a human rights lawyer.
Yeah.
Here.
It is a reputation, too, that has been compromised by our government's refusal to clearly condemn the Israeli government's disproportionate response to the horrific terrorist attacks of 7th of October, and in particular by the UK's continuing arms sales for use against Palestinians in persistent breach of international law. I am clear that this must stop, and I'm clear, too, that demanding it should not be controversial.
True.
And finally...
True, and again, just note the difference between Thangam Debonair, piece of shit who was happy to, personally go on spit on the corpses of Palestinians, apparently, or something, I don't know, and having a person in Parliament with some semblance of decency to them. That's worthwhile in of itself. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a reputation that has been seriously eroded in relation to climate action.
Also,
as a council,
just as an observer of American shit, J.D. Vance, probably future vice president, going on about Britain being the first Islamist nation with a nuclear weapon, forgetting of course Pakistan. But anyway, let's ignore that.
Inshallah, we will be. The Ummah will rise in Britain.
True. I, for one, welcome Imam overlords. Let's go.
Absolutely.
And you think to yourself, But the Labour government, like, literally lost huge swathes of the Muslim vote because of the Palestine thing. Like, they're so detached from reality that they just think, well, this party used to be on the left, therefore must be Islamist or something. They're just so fucking deranged. It's just ridiculous. And then, of course, as Vice President, what he will do when on foreign trips is literally kiss the feet of Mohammed bin Salman, the evil prick who runs Saudi Arabia. Yay! But not Islamist.
The one who's doing all the war crimes in Yemen.
Yeah. Lovely stuff. Well done.
I was responsible for proposing the UK's first climate emergency motion in autumn 2018, in another first for Bristol. I know what the climate science requires we get done in the lifetime of this Parliament, as this critical decade for the climate marches on. The brighter future we all want for our constituents and our country demands that we urgently secure a livable future. Our warming planet has just passed another milestone. For the first time, global temperatures were above the crucial 1.5 degrees limit for an entire year. I hope this House will agree.
Yeah, but the summer's been actually very mild, so global warming defeated.
Lynn, you're laughing at weather.
With me. This is a first that we must all have a responsibility to try to ensure is also a last. The last government sought to break the climate consensus, to weaponise culture wars and to spread lies and misinformation about what a net zero future will be like. This government must reverse the damage and have the courage to show genuine climate leadership at this critical time in our planet's history, and I will stand with the government if they do that, but I won't be afraid to speak up where I think they might need to go a little faster. We have heard in the King's speech a commitment to clean energy transition and public ownership of public transport, and I hope that more will be forthcoming across the weeks and months ahead of us.
So, what have we made of the hubbub surrounding Adrian Ramsey and his comments about supposed NIMBYism?
I mean, so what's frustrating, right, is that genuine criticisms of him are entirely warranted because his position is a bad one. It's a position that I disagree with for all sorts of reasons, right? But the framing of it is really stupid. So there's two things I hate about the framing. First of all, the framing is that he's blocking it completely. Well, what he's actually asked for is a pause to consider other options. The other options are shit, and they shouldn't be done. And they should build the pylons. I've been very clear they must build the pylons, right? But he's saying there should be a pause, and they should consider an offshore grid or underwire cables for 2 kilometers of the route through his constituency. But the underwire cables actually do more ecological damage than pylons do. It's just nicer to look at, which is, again, that is NIMBYism rather than ecological concern.
Far more expensive as well, I'm led to believe.
And India, literally more than 10 times more expensive, way more expensive, ridiculously so.
Yeah.
But it's being framed as though he's just saying no completely. They're framing it as like he's just trying to block it rather than trying to explore alternatives. Now, again, his position on alternatives is shit, but that isn't what he's saying.
Yeah.
And second of all, the plans for the pylons are also opposed by the Labour and Liberal Democrat councils in the constituency, but no one fucking talks about it.
Yeah.
It's clear that the big problem is NIMBYism across all parties, but because it's the Green Party and they're now perceived as a real political force, people are starting to bring out all of the disingenuous criticisms to try and smear them, for example. And this one's really sticking. People talk about this all the time whenever I mention the Greens in the comments, for example, on TikTok. Everyone says, oh, but then NIMBYs, they won't build the pylons, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, this is why it's frustrating to me. Because I mentioned this on...
Well, they'll have to tackle this because, I mean, if they can't allow that narrative to set in, they need to fight back this with actually not... by being stringently anti-NIMBY. Otherwise, they'll just be put down as NIMBYs and be politically ineffective.
Exactly, that's a real problem. It's a real problem. And also what they're doing here, by acquiescing to a handful of rural NIMBYs, what they're doing is kneecapping themselves for future electoral success elsewhere. Like, they have 2 seats randomly in the middle of like the rural areas, but every single seat, and I mean literally every single seat that they came second in the election, was a rural urban seat.
Yeah.
It wasn't a seat that they were winning because of their desire to protect for their conservationist goals. It was for their progressive goals and their climate investment goals that they were winning votes over. So by trading in short-term electoral gain in rural NIMBY seats, whilst also pissing off their progressive base who want to see large-scale action on climate infrastructure, they are shooting themselves in the foot, and that is really dumb.
Yeah.
I stand ready to work across party lines to help secure the ambitious changes we need for our climate, our natural world, and to make the UK a fairer place. In fact, I've already begun this cross-party work, so a big thank you to the honourable members of other parties and none who have signed my amendment to the King's Speech already, and well done to those MPs whose own amendments and motions I have in turn supported. The challenges that we face together and which are faced daily by our constituents are too important for us to fall victim to political tribalism. As Bristol Central's many firsts illustrate, all of our choices today will become part of history. So as a Green MP, I feel that responsibility on my shoulders and will do everything I can to carry it responsibly and repay the enormous trust put in me by the people of Bristol Central. Thank you.
Yeah.
Vivendi Mishra.
Yeah. Tiny Queen. Love it.
So that's too woke for me, unfortunately. She's gone full woke. Never go full woke.
True.
That was great. I genuinely really enjoyed that. Honestly, it's just nice to have somebody in the comments who just seems like a genuinely nice person.
Yeah, she's one of the very few who embody that. But I mean, to be honest with you, it will actually be a better, I think, standard of politics. No, don't get me wrong. It's not going to be nice, and I'm not doing this. Isn't it nice? All the quiet. Oh, isn't it lovely? We can get back to grilling. Oh, 2012.
Yeah.
Yes, please. None of that shit. But I'm just mean the actual standard of debate will probably be a lot better because a lot of the Tory 29 intake, the likes of Gullis and those fucking creeps, are gone by and large. And you've got some really good independents that will speak out on the Palestinian issue, as well as other things, I'm sure. But like that's one of the main things they were elected about. Corbyn's still there. You've got Greens. The Lib Dems, whilst being a bit shit, are better than those fucking horrible Tories that have been gotten rid of. So it should be a better parliament from that perspective. The problem is, of course, with the SNP being replaced by Labour, the actual politics are probably worse in some respects. But you know, I'm trying to look for the positives, and it should be better debate, I think.
I mean, yeah, I agree. That's why, I really changed my position on the tactical voting thing to try and justify specifically trying to make it Davey leader of the opposition. I was watching his speech in the King's Speech debate, and I was just like, well, imagine if this guy was the person holding a Labour to account and not fucking future Kemi Badenoch or Priti Patel.
Yeah, honestly, they do. The Tories do appear to be going down that path. They've gone, well, our threat is to the right, so we need to attack that way and become the party that currently have 5 seats. Okay, cool, awesome. Good luck with that.
Also, although 4D in chat, were you asking me to look at your video about vortex turbines? That looks cool, but we've got some stuff to watch before that.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means, but yes.
Oh, micro hydropower vortex turbines in Kenya. That looks pretty cool, though.
Possibly, but I'll be honest with you, the tech side of it doesn't interest me enormously, just on the basis that I don't understand a lot of it. But I assume green energy is cool, but I leave it to nerds. Because I've got no fucking idea about it. There you go. Anyway, talking of people who aren't nerds, Mick Lynch. Get your Chad Lynch emotes ready, people.
Absolutely. Also, thank you, the other Kev in my chat, who's been debating my using my talking points on Facebook. We appreciate you in chat. Yeah,
very much worthwhile. If there's one person I would suggest copying in terms of style and argumentation, No Justice would be that person.
Somebody asking in chat about whether underground cables would be simpler than pylons. No, because there's multiple reasons. The labor costs are much higher for underground cables, and also the ecological concern is higher as well. Pylons are super cheap to be able to mass produce because they're all just identical, and then you just plonk them on the ground. The costs, the administration and installation costs for underground cables are just massively higher than pylons.
Yeah, true.
It is my government's objective to see rising living standards in all nations and regions in the United
My
States.
Americans were shocked yesterday when I explained about the crown jewels, which, by the way, the thing on his head there, the crown and all the rest of it, literally the jewels in the crown. It's why they're called that. Anyway, they're thought to be estimated at between £3 and £5 billion in value, right? And having a man wearing a hat that is worth more than the GDP of several countries, telling you there's no money left and that we can't do anything because there's no wealth around, is a little bit of a piss take, really.
Yeah, like the first David Cameron one, where it was just like the nation must live within its means. I'm like, the nation, how about you fucking, look at yourself before you criticize us, man.
Yeah.
You've not read 12 Rules for Life.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, like literally, he turned up in a golden carriage. Like, are you taking the piss? Honestly, are you taking the actual piss?
It's some real kind of a Jacobin shit, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course the jewels are stolen. Yeah, take it as read. If there's something nice in Britain, we stole it from some brown people and took it back to Britain. The British Museum would be fucking empty without foreign people shit. Yeah, well, that's just a given. Again, the pyramids are only still in Egypt because you can't get them on a ship.
True. Also, Wildcat Antifa Demon apparently has used my talking points and rhetoric to terrify Labour canvassers to the point that they had to bring in reinforcements. I mean, is that true, Wildcat Antifa Demon? Do they actually bring in reinforcements? And also,
is this a battle? Was this fucking Gettysburg? What are you talking about, reinforcements? What was happening here?
I mean, if you want to regale me your tales, Wildcat, because that sounds fucking dope. If the Labour canvassers are getting murked on the doorstep.
Yeah, for real.
Kingdom.
That's the government's promise, but when will it happen?
Look at this fucking melter.
Black Rod.
Black Rod, everyone.
Absolutely.
It was weird trying to explain to Americans that that's not a racial thing when the Black Rod was actually a black man. I was like, no, it's not a racial thing. This is the first time it's ever been a black man, though. It's not, but it looks bad. It does sound like we're doing a horrible joke or something. Whereas actually, it's just our democracy that's a horrible joke. Ayo.
Absolutely. But well, 1 second, I'm just gonna go and make some dessert whilst this starts.
Oh, okay, yeah, go for it.
Welcome to Newsnight. Obviously a big day of politics here, which we will come to in just a moment. But first tonight, significant developments in the States around President Biden. This evening, he told interviewer Ed Gordon he would consider dropping his re-election campaign if a doctor told him he had a medical condition.
Is there anything...
This is from yesterday, by the way, yesterday evening.
...that you would look to, you personally, not anybody else, not other pundits, not even perhaps family members, that you would look to say, if I see that, I will reevaluate?
If there had some medical condition that emerged, if the doctors...
By the way, this is on BET, so it's Black Entertainment, right? So it's like a black-owned, black-run organisation in the United States. And so Joe Biden went on to talk with that particular organisation and couldn't remember the names of the black people he'd appointed to his cabinet.
And so it's all about treating people with dignity. And it's about making sure that, look, I mean, for example, look at the heat I'm getting because I named the Secretary of Defense, the black man. I named Ketanji Brown. I mean, because of the people I...
Ketanji Brown? Ketanji Brown. Okay. Also, the person you're referring to there, Joe, is Lloyd Austin. That's the person there, who is the U.S. Secretary of State for Defence. There you go. Just in case you were wondering, because you don't appear to know his fucking name. Little factoid for you there. Anyway, yeah. That's the thing. Oh, I wasn't sharing with. Oh no, sorry, no Justice viewers. Apologies. I'll play that again. We'll run it back. We'll run it back.
And so, it's all about treating people with dignity, and it's about making sure that, look, I mean, for example, look at the heat I'm getting, because I named the Secretary of Defense, the black man. I named Ketanji Brown. I mean, because of the people
Ketanji Brown Jackson. So again, fucked up that name of the Supreme Court pick.
Yeah, I heard. I just all of the sound went. I had my headphones in when I was downstairs, and I thought they disconnected or something. They just weren't sharing the screen.
No, I just forgot to share the screen because I was thinking in my head it's only me doing it, but I forgot I'm still broadcasting at your end. Yeah, so your viewers were just in silence with me going, or whatever. Anyway, so he couldn't name Ketanji Brown Jackson, his pick for the Supreme Court, and of course Lloyd Austin, who was the quote black man, who was the Secretary of Defence. So his brain is literally just porridge.
Speaking of porridge, my dessert it's oats with Greek yogurt and honey. Basically just like fancy porridge.
Yeah, that's just middle class porridge. Yeah,
unless you're middle class porridge. I mean, it's what it is me being on a diet. That's what it is.
Fair enough.
But I think, speaking of people forgetting names, did you watch the King's Speech debate where Rishi Sunak said that he went down to the Oval to spend time with Emily Rainsford Brent, and I was like, that's not correct, Rishi.
No, well, you know what? The fact that he tried to name a lady cricketer is woke.
He had to get the name wrong deliberately for like anti-woke points.
Exactly. Yeah. Fair enough. You know what, Rishi? That's good for you. Can you fuck off to California already, mate? Come on now.
He said, you got this problem, that problem.
And Nick, there's plenty of other stuff moving as well, isn't there?
Well, that is from the almighty to a mortal physician in just 12 days, because of course it was on the 5th of July that Joe Biden said it would take an intervention from on high for him to stand down, and now he's saying I would do it on...
Maria, don't fucking start with me. Do not start with your fucking weird cope tonight. If I forget a single name, you know what? I will say this right now. I am both legally and actually not fit to be the United States President. I'll say that, yes. I shouldn't be President of the United States. Neither should Joe Biden. For very different reasons, but the same thing holds, okay? I think we can hold ourselves to a higher standard than a guy who can't remember the names of his own cabinet because he hasn't held a cabinet meeting in 18 fucking months. Maybe you'd remember them if you'd ever fucking met them. Jesus Christ. Also, it's not just that he forgets names, he's fucking up all the time.
I mean, like, the real problem isn't the forgetting names. That's kind of a fly in the ointment, really. It was just the debate performance in general, where he just kind of didn't know where he was.
Yeah, look, and yeah, Trump's also shit. No one's disagreeing with that. Yeah, he's a fucking knob. And was falling asleep during his own confirmation as the candidate. Like, he's also a stupid old man with fucking soup for brains, yes. But on the Conservative side, they actually like that. That's not a drawback. That's a feature, not a bug for them.
Because the big problem here, of course, is that this should be a cakewalk. This election should be a cakewalk for the Democrats.
Really,
and they're running basically the only person who can fucking lose.
And dragging out getting rid of him so long that we're just getting closer and closer to the election. With less and less time for you to raise money for whoever the new person is.
Well, they should have announced it as soon as Trump got shot. Take the news story away.
Possibly, but that would maybe look callous. Which, again, for the right, they love the callousness. They love all of that. Like, if it had been the other way around, if Biden had been shot, Trump would have been out there joking about it, dunking on him, because they don't give a fuck. The cruelty is the point. But on the kind of more liberal side, or the nicer side, I guess, whatever, you need to play it a bit softer than that. You need to play it a bit more easily, you know, like a bit more like I understand them playing it with kid gloves. I don't think they should have stopped campaigning. I think that's a bit rough. Like, surely if you're doing the whole this is an attack on democracy, you stopping doing democracy doesn't aid in that argument, you know. We don't negotiate with terrorists type deal, you know. It looks good to carry on, I think, but anyway.
Doctor's orders. Now, as far as we can see, Joe Biden is absolutely determined to stay in this race, but the
Can I just answer the question from the delightfully named bourgeois lesbianism?
Good name.
Is this lady your wife, or do you moor with men? Well, if you're referring to No Justice MTG, she is not my wife. I have not that great pleasure. But I also do it with both ladies and non-ladies. That's, you know, I am...
Yeah, you're woke sexual.
I am. Kev is asexual, literally, yes. I am a sexual being. I like to call myself a filthy half-sodomite. It's the way to go.
Momentum is moving against him once again. Obviously, there was a lull over the weekend. All the focus was on the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, but now it's back on Joe Biden. So in the first place, the Democratic National Committee has announced it's going to delay by 1 week the virtual roll call of Joe Biden as the nominee. That will now start to take place in the first week of August. That move was done after an intervention by the two most senior Democrats in Congress. That is Senator Chuck Schumer, who is the Senate Majority Leader, and Representative Hakeem Jeffries, who is the Senate Minority Leader in the House. Crucially also today,
the Senate Minority Leader in the House? What?
Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense at all, yeah. I was too busy trying to think of a joke about him being the minority leader who's a minority, but let's not go there. Yeah, the Senate minority leader in the House. What are you talking about? The Supreme Court of Senators? Like, what are you talking about, mate? You're just saying words.
A representative from California, he's contesting one of the vacant Senate seats in California. He led the Trump impeachment in the House. He said Joe Biden should stand aside. That's really significant because Adam Schiff is very close to Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker, who's seen as one of the elders who might have some influence over Joe Biden. And finally, a YouGov poll showing that 2/3 of registered Democrats believe Joe Biden should stand aside.
That's not a great sign for him. That doesn't bode well when your own people don't want you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they want to win the election. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. It's a little bit like when Rishi Sunak called the election and his own MPs were trying to cancel it by getting him kicked out. Like, the Liberals are all about vibes, and the vibes on that were rancid. You know what I mean?
And meanwhile, Donald Trump in Wisconsin, I think we've got pictures of him, hopefully, here, as he walked across the stage tonight. He's just practicing, he's just getting you. And look, right behind him, it looks rather like the White House, does it not, on that stage?
That's right. It was a practice run for his speech tomorrow, and you can't quite see it, but it looks like...
Is that like when a giant sleeps on a normal human-sized pillow? Is that what that is? I don't know.
Like in that speech, there's going to be a big virtual White House.
Which, by the way, like I've seen medical professionals talk about this. That's not a proper medical bandage at all. There's no injury for which that would be the appropriate bandage. That's obviously like a staged thing. It's nonsense. He doesn't need that.
You're making it a signifier for the election.
Yeah. By putting a little tampon on the side of your face.
And now all of the people in the audience doing it.
Not tampon, maxi pad, whatever. You get the idea.
Pretty much saying, I think I'm there.
Now, obviously, as you know, as Newsnight viewers, it's been a very significant political day here too. With us this evening, we have Mick Lynch, who is General Secretary of the RMT. Welcome back. And we've got the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Commons and Conservative MP for 32 years, until he lost by 856 votes.
Fucking minge. Well, you stupid fucking taverners tie on your cunt, get wrecked.
On July the 4th. Nigel Evans, and you still somehow have a smile on your face.
Well, why?
Yeah, because he's still getting a massive fucking gold-plated pension. He's sorted. He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, because you have to stand at the election and lose to keep your pension, right?
I'm not sure you do. No, I think you just have to serve 4 years in Parliament and not be kicked out.
Okay.
I think if you get kicked out, you get it taken, don't you? But like, if you just stand down, I think that's fine. Yeah. Which I don't like. Look, if they should have pensions, that's fine. You know, they've dedicated their life to public service, etc. But you know, some of them really oughtn't have it.
I mean, it seems pretty fucked up that they can spend fewer years in Parliament and get a pension.
Yeah.
Than how many years worth of national insurance we have to pay to get the state pension.
True. Also, let's means test it. You like some means testing, don't you, lads? Love putting means testing on fucking desperately poor people trying to fucking avoid homelessness or whatever. I don't know why a fucking Nicholas Soames gets a fucking pension when he lives in a literal castle.
Exactly. Also, you're pointing as well, why are news like bringing in losers? You reminded me that on Sophie Rich's Politics Hub 2 nights ago, they had Jonathan Gullis on. What?
Why?
The man's not a political heavyweight. He's only been there since 2019 and has already lost his seat.
Yeah.
What the fuck is he doing there?
He's a shithouse. Why would you have him on? Oh my god.
What's he got to do with the price of fish?
True. Thank you, Sozzled Snake, for gifting 2 subby subs. Much love to you. Oh god, he's just a twat, whatever.
Not. Why not? I mean, it's. I've had
you respect the voters' decision.
I've had 32 years on the bucking Broncos, I like to call it. So it's not a bad run. I think the average stay is about 8 years, so 32 is not bad. I would have liked longer, but the customer is always right, Victoria.
Mick Lynch, are you, after the King's speech today, a happy union leader?
Well, happier than a couple of weeks ago. I think we've got the country on the move again. There's a bit of...
And to be fair, what I will say, I saw Mick Lynch being interviewed by, was it Times Radio or someone?
It was like the clip that Max posted.
Possibly. I can't remember who, but I saw him being interviewed. And the fact that they just met with him and like talked on a level, like he was saying he'd met with the Transport Secretary and stuff. That instantly is better than the Tories, because the Tories would just refuse to meet union leaders because of ideological reasons. The fact that it was fucking the country up is irrelevant. They had to score anti-union points or whatever. So that instantly is just slightly better than it was before, which is good. You know.
Well, yeah, because that's why we ended up having doctor strikes, is because Steve Barclay, and then following him Victoria Atkins, just spent all of their time not negotiating. Nurses and doctors spent 6 months or so telling them, if you don't come to the table with a good offer, we will go on strike. And then they went on strike after not hearing back from the government. And the government were like, they've gone on strike, they're destroying the health service. I'm like,
and they said it in that tone of voice as well. It was lovely.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Dynamism in the leadership of the country. And we hope that they can get their programme off the stocks very quickly, get a bit of energy going on all the issues that they're looking at, especially the issues we're interested in, obviously transport. Good news on that today. What they told us in opposition in the run-up to the election is going to be delivered. There'll be legislation in September repealing the Railways Act, which will mean we can get on the road to public ownership. And the stuff about the New Deal is all very encouraging.
What else do you want? Because as a union leader, you were telling me earlier, you always want more.
We always want more. We, like everybody else, we're interested in the housing crisis, we're interested in the cost of living crisis. We want people to get a better deal from this society. There's plenty of wealth in the society. We need to work out a way where everybody gets a fair share of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, literally, there's so much wealth in the society that the guy on the right of the screen there is richer than the fucking king.
The man that we just saw wearing the jewel-encrusted hat, he is poorer than the man on the right of your screen currently.
And when he fucks off to America, he'll probably take his money with him and put it in the Cayman Islands or something.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely,
you know.
absolutely. Hide it in Necker with Richard Branson.
True. Also, interestingly, of course, his family's net value went up by 200 million at the same time that everyone else was losing their money because of COVID.
Yep. And he also made a lot of his money during the global financial crisis.
Yeah, no, he's a ghoul of the highest order.
Absolutely,
Ironically, considering he's so short. Hey-o.
Through hard work, through their education system. We want a better health service. That will need a brave economic strategy. We don't think that the current economic strategy, the fiscal rules that they're following, are going to be sufficient to address the needs of the country. That would have been true if the Tories had come in. That would be true now.
Oh, and to see the Liberals go, oh, isn't it nice that they camaraderie they can get on? It's not the hostility. Because they're the same fucking person. Look at them. Absolute fucking shithouses. The reason that there's no fucking antagonism between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer is because fundamentally they don't disagree.
Yeah, either way, politics change, get what they want.
Yeah. Nothing will fundamentally change. So why would Rishi Sunak be angry about it?
No, but they're going to slightly change workers' rights, which is going to massively increase unemployment and mean that businesses won't invest. Because, like, there was loads of business investment happening before the election, wasn't there? Yeah, we can move for business investment in the UK before the election. Oh, wait, we've had a 14-year investment slump in this country. I wonder whose fault that is.
Yeah.
What is interesting, though, he talks about how the fiscal rules aren't good enough to properly deal with the problems in the country. Again, because the Labour Party rhetoric on this is we can't invest in public services unless we get growth. And I'm like, well, the growth is going to be contingent on having functioning public services. Like, loads of people aren't working because they're in an NHS waiting list. If you don't invest in capital investment in the NHS, you won't be able to reduce the waiting list and get people back to work to be productive to get the growth. So therefore you won't actually put money into the NHS at all because you're waiting for a plant to grow before you water it.
Yeah. Trickle down economics, people. Let's go. Messiah points out, quote, departing MPs will get a lump sum of £19,756 when they lose their seat, as this equates to 4 months' net salary on an MP salary of blah 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 per year. So yeah, they get basically 20 grand lump sum. As well, on top of the gold-plated pension for life.
So George Galloway will get that after, like, doing 3 months of nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. But, you know, everyone else needs to tighten their belts. Cool. Very cool. Also, did you see already they're doing a scandal, the Labour Party. Sue Gray and her, was it £1/3 billion she's trying to purloin from government funds for a fucking rebuilding of a football pitch in fucking Northern Ireland. Brilliant, honestly.
What a surprise! What a surprise! I literally saw somebody tweet out like 3 days ago. Isn't it nice that we haven't had any scandals yet? And I was like, are you having a giggle?
It didn't take a fortnight for them to start.
Yeah, we've got the puberty blockers thing. Vaughan Gething just fucking resigned in Wales over what was legitimately a scandal.
Yeah. Well, and to see him doing the rounds, having a little bitch. They never accepted my righteous victory. Mate, you're a shithouse. Get the fuck out of the way already.
Rachel Reeves is in charge, so they've got to be brave about that, and they've got to find a way to bring the country with them, because we're going to need more public spending.
Well, that will only come from growth, Rachel Reeves says, from tax revenues, from
growth. Growth is a part of it, but people have got to be taxed properly. There is plenty of wealth in this economy, and we've got to work out a way where we can tax people efficiently. There are a lot of people avoiding tax. There is a lot of bogus self-employment, for instance. If we get people back on PAYE, paying their national insurance, working directly for the people that are wanting the work, then we can get a country that's paying its way, where people are working hard, get the good conditions that the legislation is going to provide for, get trade union rights, and are paying taxes efficiently so we can run the country.
Exactly, that's a really good point.
Before we talk more about the King's...
Yeah, absolutely.
Specifically with regard to, obviously one of the big things, the trade union battles of this era is the fight against the gig economy, because not only does it generally make people's conditions worse, makes people's security worse, makes people's pay worse, makes people's benefits for being in work worse, it's just a massive stripping back of people's labour rights in this country. Yeah. On top of that, it's much harder to unionize if you're in a gig economy worker, because they try and force you into what he calls bogus self-employment, but it's a personal freedom. But on top of that, he makes a really good point that it's also much harder to get good taxation out of that. Which, if we went back to, rather than the gig economy model that everybody hates and is shit and awful, back to what we had, jobs for life, where we had vocations, people contribute to their community and community jobs and things like that, they would be better paid, more likely to be unionised, and also they'd be much easier to be able to tax properly, to be able to provide more income for the state.
Yep.
He's absolutely right on all counts there, and that will involve much more tough legislation on businesses than what the current New Deal for workers is trying to say it'll do.
Exactly, yeah, that's the thing. It's the toughness of the legislation. For instance, one of the things was getting rid of 0 hours contracts. I suspect, given the close ties they have with right-wing think tanks and employers groups and all the rest of it, that there will be so many holes in that it'll look like fucking Swiss cheese, and they'll be able to still enforce 0 hours contracts. So I will wait and see until the actual piece of legislation is produced.
Thing is, but even before that, it got to the point of being watered down before it was put in the manifesto. It had already been watered down up to that point before the National Policy Forum, because that's when they had a bust up with the trade unions who are affiliated to the party. Obviously, RMT aren't, over trying to overhaul this independent contractor gig economy stuff. And so, really and truly, by dumping that very early on, I described it on my channel as being traitorous to the union movement. It is an absolute kind of betrayal of the trade union movement and the labour movement by essentially giving up on the biggest workers' rights battle of our generation, which is the gig economy.
Yep.
Speech with you, and from the Tories' point of view, you've hot-footed it here from a meeting with defeated Tory MPs. About 120 or so of them got together with Rishi Sunak. What were MPs saying to Rishi Sunak?
Well, the intent.
God almighty, one of the few Tory meetings at which Liz Truss would have been welcomed, and she wasn't even there.
Yeah.
She was in America, also being ignored.
Did you see when she tweeted out everything that she was wrong with the King's speech, as she got mad about? And then Jim Felton in the replies was just like, well, if you have such a problem with it, why don't you go and speak to your local MP?
True. I mean, that is A, a sick burn, and B, her quoting, was it Stalinist housing something or other? What the fuck are you talking about? What, building houses is Stalinist now? That's fucking wild. Hang on,
when she said that during the leadership election, when she beat Rishi Sunak, she wanted to scrap housing targets for being literally Stalinist. And
reintroducing Stalinist housing targets rather than a zoning system.
I mean, because zoning systems have gone really well if you just look at America.
Yeah, no, it's been a massive success. I'm sure everyone in America is really fond of that policy. Also, Liz, you tried. You had an opportunity to institute your policies. They were a massive disaster to the point where you are the shortest living Prime Minister ever. Shut up and go away.
And also on top of that, like, she had no mandate for it. She wasn't elected by the people. There was a 2019 manifesto she was elected on. She can't just change that willy-nilly. That's not a thing you're supposed to do, and kind of democratic accountability.
When you take an L that big, you should be ashamed to fucking show your face in public. Let alone carrying on, having lost that and then lost your fucking seat in Parliament, to then carry on as if you've got some sort of fucking worthwhile contribution to make. Shut up and go away.
Exactly, and although I have the opposite position to you. I don't want her to go away. Keep talking about how much you love conservatism, Liz. It can only make your side look worse. The more you talk about it, the more people will link conservative ideology from the time when you're in government, and the more politically toxic it will be. So by all means, Liz, speak as much as you want.
Yeah. I get what you mean, but I just meant more from like an ethical point of view. Like,
true,
really,
that's
you
also
ought
true,
to shut the fuck up. There needs to be more of a semblance of shame in British politics. We need to actually get back to the idea of, like, I don't know, just decency, I think, maybe. Like, I don't want to sound too much like Keir Starmer here, but we need to get back to public service rather than service of self. Whereas this person is just the most nakedly obvious attention-seeking twat with the worst ideas imaginable. We need less of that, actually, ideally.
Intention was that they had...
what were former MPs saying to Rishi Sunak?
Exactly. Well, as you say, there were 120 there, but they also had people like Charles Walker who stood down, who wanted to reassure people that they were going to be looked after. Mark Prisk on giving coaching advice for those who are going to look for employment outside of politics. So there was another reason.
Coaching advice? Didn't you mean lobbying advice?
I was about to say, if you're a former Tory MP struggling for work, how shit must you be? Because they'll take on any old prick, one of these think tanks or pressure groups, or you can get on the cancel culture grift train, whatever. Like, if you're struggling for work, you must be actually brain dead. It's the
Yeah, like
easiest
Liz
gig. Well, yeah, it must be the easiest gig imaginable. But you can't fucking fall over for job offers from the most evil bastards in the world.
Other than Rishi having the opportunity to look us in the eye and say, I'm sorry, which is what he did. He did it several times.
And do you accept his apology?
Well, we are where we are. I mean,
Do you
the one
accept
thing.
his apology?
Yes, I do. But the
But you
one
don't
thing.
think he should have called
but
the
the one
election when he
thing. No,
did?
of course I don't. In fact, I told him. He phoned me on the Saturday following the election results, and I said, well, I am going to say right out front. The election should have been November. It would have given another few months of a growing economy, people, and give him.
But Rishi Sunak wouldn't have been leader. That's literally that he did it for himself. And again, that's the Tories' selfishness, hoisting them by their own petard. When you raise up the worst people imaginable, the most self-serving gobshites, and then their self-service blows up in your face, tough shit, lads. You did this.
Especially after they actively cultivated a culture of selfishness.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, the only reason he called it is because that's the only way he was ever going to get to fight a general election. He wasn't going to survive till October. He probably wouldn't have...
Yeah.
Like, if he'd not called it, he wouldn't be leader of the Tory party now. Either way, he wouldn't have been Prime Minister now, as we speak. So, this was the only chance to avoid that ignominy. He literally chose the battering at the ballot box over just the stab in the back, I guess, you know?
Yeah.
Him the opportunity to show himself as Prime Minister for another 6 months. You would have had the NATO summit. You would have had this Blenheim conference that's coming up this weekend.
And
so there's lots of...
been busy in the United
And
States.
well, do you know, that was an important consideration.
Well, true, someone said this. Maybe Keir Starmer's greatest contribution to worldwide democracy was coughing in Joe Biden's face at the NATO meeting. Just a thought. Comrade Starmer, taking one for the team. Liz Truss killed the Queen, Keir Starmer killed Joe Biden.
Like, it's a thing that could theoretically happen.
In theory, yes.
To swan off to cover the elections with his mate Trump.
But
Instead of which,
are those MPs sorry for the last 3 or 4 years for Liz Truss and all that? The way they got behind some of the most reactionary right-wing politics.
Mick,
Go
I
on,
spoke
lad.
with some of them,
Go on.
and some said, "Listen, we didn't help ourselves."
No.
Right? I knew on the doorstep when I was knocking on doorsteps, talking to people. They said, "Hold on, you said you were going to stop the boats. You haven't done that. You haven't sent anybody
But
to
this
Rwanda."
was a punishment election, wasn't it? It wasn't just about Labour winning. They were the electorate were out to
No
punish.
one actually cared about Rwanda. Even people who are anti-immigration, who actually like that policy, didn't care that much about Rwanda. Because they want anything that's like kind of vaguely racist.
I mean, even then, like, there was broad support for the Rwanda policy, just about. It was usually about 50-50 in most polls about it. But when people actually surveyed in like focus groups like what they thought about the policy in specific, they thought it was stupid and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
They, as you say, they just wanted to see something being done. Although, to be fair, it's interesting that the Conservatives, they will always kind of parrot the things that they want to hear heard on the doorsteps, which is, well, they wanted to hear about our personal bugbears that we failed on. I'm pretty sure, mate, most people on the doors wanted to hear about the NHS and the cost of living crisis, because all of the polls show those are two of the biggest concerns for voters.
Yeah.
Above all else was cost of living and the NHS,
Again,
which you failed on.
Well, I mean, the culture war stuff was never really going to work. The culture war works when economic times are okay and you're looking for a wedge issue. When the economy is going so badly, no one gives a fuck about drag queen story hour when they can't afford to feed their kids, because that's of immediate concern to their everyday lives. Where a trans person goes for a shit is not.
Exactly, and the thing is that it only made the Conservative Party look even more out of touch, and even more completely separated from the lives of ordinary people. Because whilst people couldn't afford to heat their homes or be able to get an NHS appointment or put clothes on their kids' back, Tories were talking about bathrooms and shit. It was delusional, deranged.
Also, talking of being out of touch, have you seen that Lindsay Hoyle, the briefcase wanker in chief, Speaker of the House of Commons, has reinstituted the need for males in the House of Commons to wear ties? The open-necked shirt is too modern for these fucking people.
I swear down, we just need to completely update these laws. These rules are so stupid.
We were going in the right direction for a long time. Speaker Martin, for all of his fucking faults, got rid of the powdered wigs and the stockings and all this fucking dumb shit. Burko went a bit more with it, like he still had that weird black sash thing, but other than that, he was just a dude in a suit going, order, order! Whereas now, with going back on it, now we've got the weird breeches are back, and the fucking, you have to wear a tie, and how dare they clap in Parliament? Oh my! Fucking hell.
I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to see people turning up to Parliament in like a hoodie and jeans. Like, that'd be far more relatable.
I don't really care. I genuinely don't care. The one thing I like about that fucking Fetterman prick, he'll turn up in a hoodie and a pair of shorts. Okay, that's like most of the other people. Like, if most of his constituents would turn up like that, and they probably would, that's cool. Okay, go for it. If you're comfortable dressed like that, go for it. We're sick of dickheads. Like, everyone who's been fucked over has been fucked over by someone in a suit and tie. I'd rather have fewer people in suits and ties, actually.
Yep, exactly.
Also, if we're going to go traditional, why not bring back the ruff and the cravat? What happened to men wearing powdered face and wig? When did that... We used to be a real country.
That's true. It's like a point with Monkey Nuts in chat. Do you think that guy was wearing a pink suit because of some kind of malicious compliance?
I hope so. Yeah. Let's make every day. Let's make every day Wacky Tie Friday.
Absolutely. I'll get a copy of Jordan Peterson's Heaven and Hell suit.
Yeah.
I'll get a Greg's suit.
Get a Groot. Oh no, that's actually a different thing. Anyway, someone should do a cosplay of that Tory MP that asphyxie wanked, because technically that's a kind of tie. It was around his neck. You know,
Stephen Milligan. It's my cosplay.
Yeah, exactly. You'd need to get it to sort of stick up in the air like a noose. But I'm sure it could be done. It's not beyond the wit of man to do that. And you're like, technically it's in compliance. You said just wear a necktie, and I've got a necktie on. What do you mean you can't understand me with this amyl nitrate laced orange in my mouth? Please.
But wear it like as like a headband.
Exactly. There's no rule that says I can't have a bull gag in Parliament. How dare you? I was elected by my constituents, some of whom enjoy kinky shit, and I'm representing those people.
You're spot on there. If you look at the turnout, it was down 5% in my patch. If you look at the Labour share of the vote, it was 34%. Yeah. That's one of the lowest that any winning party has.
Yeah, they got more than 500,000 fewer votes than Jeremy Corbyn last time in supposedly the worst result in Labour's history. By the way, it wasn't, but that's irrelevant. That's how the mainstream narrative put it. And yet Keir Starmer gets more than 500,000 fewer votes, and it's the greatest achievement of all time. It's almost like we don't actually live in a democracy at all.
And again, what was the term somebody called it? A loveless landslide. I think that's a really good way of talking about it.
Not Owen Jones. It was the Crombles. It was the John Blee Cromblins who said that. Yeah. And the right went fucking mental. How dare you say that? Because it's true.
I'm so glad they've created a shadow position on the opposite benches. We've got the shadow Secretary of State for boiling Keir Starmer's piss.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah. His Majesty's opposition leader for thorn in the side. Let's go.
If they hadn't been so certain of winning, Labour would have got more. People wanted to punish individual Tory MPs.
Mick, you're absolutely right. That's why 70-odd Lib Dems won, because they worked out who was more likely to beat the Tory, and they didn't care whether it was Labour or Lib Dem. They went with them, and that's why we suffered a colossal defeat. And I mean, people were bewildered as to why we went in July when they thought that November would have been a much better date, and some people.
But the date wouldn't have saved you. It might have saved some of them, but it wouldn't have saved the Tory government.
I think you're absolutely right, but I think my own view is that at least 100 people wouldn't have been in that room tonight, or 100 people of the 259 wouldn't have lost their seats. I do think that, when you argue for change,
Yeah.
It was a powerful argument.
Yeah.
And in the end, this is what we got today.
Nick, after the 40 new bills were read out by the King today, what is the mood in the Labour Party?
Well, this was the first time in around about 20 years that you've seen a Prime Minister in such command of their party and in such command of Parliament. And you could...
Yeah, it's mad when you do ideological purges that are not Stalinist when they're doing it, obviously. And there's literally no opposition to you from anyone. Yeah, you are in command of the situation, yeah.
Exactly. Holding to account? What's that? We only hold people to account who we have disagreements with or we don't want to ensure access to when they eventually get into government. Well, look, they're 20 points ahead in the polls. I guess we're not criticising these guys so that we can make sure we have all of our ins and our access when they're the people in the ministerial positions.
Yeah. Yeah, James O'Brien going on about the King's speech being a bit wishy-washy. Really? You didn't realise that was going to be the case before the election, Mr. Client Journalism.
Exactly. Did not read the Labour manifesto, like the manifesto impression that they did.
Yeah. Because you know who else was also in control of his party? Robert Mugabe. It's very easy when you've got no opposition
absolutely,
whatsoever.
absolutely, 100%. Incredibly unified ZANU-PF.
Yeah.
And if anybody disagreed, they got shot.
Yeah. Oh, did you see our old friend Paul Kagame got 99% of the vote in Rwanda? I, for one, definitely believe the authenticity of that result.
Not just the Rwandan Patriotic Front are just that popular.
They are that popular, clearly. And that's, you know what, I like a democracy. The people have decided.
I know my obscure African political party names.
Yes. My favourite one, the Economic Freedom Fighters. Because it sounds
I fucking
badass.
love the EFF.
Yeah.
It does sound badass, and Julius Malema is like peak memes.
Oh, he really is. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a twat. But he, again, boils the piss of the people that need to have their piss boiled.
It's really funny to me. It's like the kind of representation that he is of politics in the region. He's just like, they sing like "Kill the Boer," right? It's the song that they sing at conference. Yeah. And on top of that, they also at conference, we support the LGBT plus community. I was like, this is just like an odd set of ideologies. They
are a peculiar bunch, but I mean, to be honest with you, not anywhere near the most genocidal South African political party in history. Just saying.
I mean, literally right next to Robert Mugabe.
Yeah.
Literally see that. All those new Labour MPs crammed onto the government benches, and on the Conservative side, the opposition side, slightly thinner spread of MPs because, as Nigel said, so many of them have lost their seats.
That's true. Look, clearly Kagame got all of that support because he managed to rinse the British government for hundreds of millions. They could see an economic genius before their eyes, and they all voted en masse for him. It's the only answer. It's the only thing that makes sense.
The crucial thing is that Keir Starmer is not all powerful. So this King's speech was about what he can do, which is state intervention, and that's designed to help him in the areas where he can't do or he won't do things, and that to have big spending. That is not going to happen now. So what does he need? He needs economic growth, and the way that he's doing that is through some pretty big state intervention. There's the National Wealth Fund bill. That's around $7 billion of public money to help decarbonise industry. Creating Great British Energy, that is a publicly owned company to create clean power by 2030. And then Mick will know this one off by heart. The Passenger Railway Service, brackets public ownership, close brackets bill. You haven't heard a humdinger, there you go.
Exactly. Socialism will not be pithy, okay?
Well, it's funny how he says that like big state intervention. I mean, just waiting for franchise agreements to expire so that they become under the operator of last resort isn't actually like a big amount of state intervention. I mean, the Tories are already halfway there with six operators under the Tories got.
True, but I'm happy for... Look, if we do state ownership via, like, I don't know, default, okay, I'll take that, I guess.
The two best words in the English language, default.
True.
And then the thing is as well that he says that they can do big spending, and I'm like, what? They said there's got this £8 billion of National Wealth Fund. Like, well, as National Wealth Funds go, that's not a lot of money.
No.
That's not that. There's not a huge amount of money going on there. And GB Energy is part of the National Wealth Fund. So really, they've got two policies. One is quite small, and the other one is free. and also, it doesn't include any of like the Roscoes either. And there's no plan to create like a state-owned Roscoe to kind of gradually move over either. They're just going to continue keep renting trains from like German and South Korean investment firms.
Awesome.
I haven't heard that for some time.
So, top 10.
So that is going to put, as we said last night, rail companies into public ownership as the franchise ends or if they fail. Now, the reason he's having to do all this is because he needs economic growth. Why are...
Interesting that they've filled in the potholes there really well with presumably like hay or something. That this is central London and we still have shit roads. We can't even have a capital that works.
Like literally outside the fucking palace.
Jesus Christ.
What's interesting as well, though, he says things like, "Well, this is his plan for like big spending for economic growth." I'm like, it's not enough to grow the economy. And also, like, why would nationalising rail generate economic growth? It'll be better because it'll just be a less shit service. But is that going to be a massive like growth?
No, it really isn't. It's just, I mean, it will help in the sense that if we have an efficiently run train system that works, it will aid people move into places, and that's good for the economy a bit. But it's not actually going to spur massive economic growth because it just means we'll have a vaguely functioning train system, which, like, okay, that's cool, but like it's not itself a spur to growth. I don't think. Not really, because you're not building anything new. You're not really creating any jobs by it. Really.
Like, I guess your people and workers will have like better like mobility, and I guess that will be good long term to ensure that we don't stop having economic growth. But it's not like this big kind of injection of growth into the economy. Because I mean, even the wealth fund plans are not like a huge amount of growth that they're going to be able to get.
Delightful. So the our plan is for 8 billion for our national fund. The Alaska Permanent Fund is 78 billion. Alaska, where 6 people live, and like 20 polar bears. That's it.
And don't they get paid out a dividend from that in Alaska? Doesn't every resident of Alaska get paid a dividend
Get lots
out of
of
the
money,
wealth?
yeah, in order to allow them to destroy the natural resources of the country. Yeah. Well, they do get paid for it.
Yeah, didn't they initially do it? It's because they couldn't get enough people to move to Alaska. So they did it as like a way of attracting people to move from other states.
Yeah, you're getting $1,300 a year.
It's pretty good.
Not bad. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Why is the situation difficult? Well, he has a very difficult fiscal inheritance from the Conservatives, you would say, but also he has made 2 big decisions. Keir Starmer is not going to put up the main rates of income tax, VAT or national insurance, and he has decided effectively to inherit Rachel Reeves' debt plan, which is that debt has to be falling as a share of GDP over the 5-year forecast period.
Wow, we're hamstrung by rules that we created. It's not like we could change those at any point. Brilliant.
Yeah, again, like a self-imposed straitjacket. Like, I get the tax and spend thing. I get like not wanting to raise taxes on the things that people automatically get frustrated by if they got taxed over it, like the majority of working people's taxes. But the fact that they're also committing to nonsense fiscal rules and also don't have any plans for wealth taxes or increases in capital gains or carbon taxes or increases in dividends taxation or like a landlord tax, for example, or a land value tax. Even like there's so many things that they could be doing to raise money, and they're just saying, well, we're just going to do the absolute bare minimum.
Yeah.
If you have that, then the only way you can try and rebuild the public realm is through economic growth. And just to look at the spending track,
there has to be a lot of growth.
There has to be a lot
of growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to get an idea of the spending challenge, let's look at this graphic from the Institute for Fiscal Studies. Now, this is essentially the government plan, which Rachel Reeves is inheriting. She's doing a little bit more spending. There's the tightening down on non-doms, getting rid of the VAT exemption on private school fees. That's going to raise a few billion. But fundamentally, the plan means, look at that first one in yellow. So that is saying in the period 2024-25 to 28-29, overall day-to-day public spending is going to rise by 1%. In the protected areas, that's NHS, defence, schools, aid and childcare, that's going to rise by 2%, although IFX reckons that'll be about 2.9. But then look at the final one in blue, the unprotected areas, brackets, everything else, that is due to go down by 1.9%. The IFS actually says it'll be
austerity, but with a red rosette. Yay!
And I think the numbers, they need like just under 2% growth, I think it is, to make sure that the budgets stay the same. And of course, a lot of that growth will come from population growth anyway, so the amount they'll need to expend on those things will go higher regardless. So the idea they're going to be able to grow their way into not doing austerity is, especially when they're not spending any money to get there either, is just so pie in the sky. It's complete nonsense. Completely nonsense.
be down by 3.5%. That is not great for a Labour government, and the only way they can get out of that is by growing the economy.
Or taxing rich cunts. Why is that never an option? It's not even mentioned. It's not even look, that's the only way he can do it. No, dickhead. There are other ways. You could borrow more. You could tax more.
Exactly. That's what's super frustrating. Is there was the specific framing there, as you say, of, well, he's got no other choice to grow the economy because he's made this fiscal rule and he won't tax in those 3 areas you named. Those are not the only areas that one could be able to tax. Like, literally, the opposition party, or a party on the opposition benches already devised a plan in their manifesto. In fact, both the Liberal Democrats and the Green Party had plans for more tax rises than the Labour Party that would mostly go on the wealthy and the highest of earners as well. Labour could just pinch those policies tomorrow and they would not have to do austerity. That's not the only way of doing it being growth. There are plenty of other ways.
Yeah.
Well, just before we came on air, I spoke to the minister responsible for getting Labour's 40 bills into law, Lucy Powell, the leader of the Commons, and I asked her first actually about public sector pay, including teachers' pay, because a decision on pay is due at the end of the month. After adjusting for inflation, pay for teachers is 9% lower than it was in 2010. That's 9% lower. I asked Lucy Powell if she would want to become a
It really is. The crimes that have been perpetrated against the British people. Bankers created a massive problem, and then COVID hit and all the rest of it, and it's all just been an excuse to funnel money upwards. We've had government spending cuts of like fucking 40-odd, 50%, and now we're going to have more. The taxes have gone down massively on the wealthy and up on everybody else. The overall spending power of the money you have is vastly decreased. Wages have remained ridiculously stagnant whilst inflation and productivity have risen. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's fucking monstrous what's happened.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the Tories deliberately froze a bunch of public sector pay, such as teachers, deliberately so that the private sector had nothing to compete with, and so they could have stagnant wages too. And teachers are such an important part of our economy. They're such an important part of ensuring that we have children who are well-read.
As part of our society as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. To be able to create a knowledgeable society, having educated children is important.
What I want
the people
is
who do the
poor, stressed-out people having access to all of our children for many hours a day. What could possibly go wrong?
And I think being a teacher is difficult. People keep saying, "Oh, we get loads of holiday," but the rest of your time when you're at work, you literally have no spare time.
Yeah.
Every single day, all of your free time goes in terms of doing all of your marking, doing your preparation, getting all your worksheets prepared for all each individual students in your class. Being a teacher is a really, really tough and grueling job, even outside of when you're in school. And when you're in school, you have to deal with children. You actually have to deal with children. It sounds like my own personal nightmare.
Yeah.
People who become teachers are absolute saints, and the way they've been treated by this government is nothing short of revolting, or the previous government, I guess.
Yeah.
teacher if the government didn't restore pay to at least what it was 14 years ago.
Public sector pay has been a big issue over recent years, and that's why we've seen such high levels of industrial action for teachers and in the health service. It's been a big part of the problem that's facing our public services. They're not legislative matters, so wouldn't be in a King's speech today, but there obviously are public pay bodies that look into these things. They make recommendations to the government, and we will look at those as they come about. But I mean, obviously, retention of teachers, I mean, we're looking to recruit more teachers. That's a clear manifesto commitment, and as the King's speech set out today.
Again, I think they're coming from the same, I think they've got like a vineyard of workers, and they can just pluck some people, some more nurses from the nurse tree and teachers from the teacher tree. The magic public sector worker trees are very useful. I'm glad they exist, otherwise we'd have a real problem with making manifesto pledges and putting no money into it whatsoever.
Exactly. You know, they're really lucky that we have these trees, because that means they can also promise to lower immigration as well.
Yes.
So we don't have people filling these job vacancies from overseas. That's all going to work out perfectly because of the magic teacher tree.
Exactly, because if you didn't allow people to migrate in to fill that position, and you're not putting any money into homegrown training of people for these positions, then actually what you're saying is just a lie. But the government wouldn't lie, obviously.
They wouldn't do that. Well, things on top of that, you say train up people to become teachers. Again, we have some of the lowest levels of unemployment that we've had since the 1970s. Trying to find people to be able to train to be teachers that you're not going to have to pluck out of somewhere else in the economy is also going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
We will be adding VAT on private school fees to recruit more teachers, but there's no point recruiting more teachers, as you say, if there are still many more than you're recruiting leaving the profession.
Sure. So it's like a really simple question. It's actually about you. Would you want to work as a teacher on pay that is 9% lower than it was in 2010?
Don't be silly. She's on 90 grand as an MP. What the fuck would she want that? No. Obviously.
150k as a cabinet.
Oh, he is a cabinet minister, of course. Yeah. That's just the bog standard MPs, right? Yeah. You get more also if you're on a committee, so that's nice. Awesome. You don't have to attend, but you just have to be on there, you know.
Well, I'm not a teacher, probably wouldn't, but you know, my husband's a doctor.
She
obviously.
literally said the thing. Don't answer the question. Are you new to politics? Oh God.
He's just.
I mean, again, why would anybody be a teacher in this economy at all? Again, it's not only. I mean, there's so many specifics about why being a teacher right now is awful. Because not only is the pay degraded so much over that period of time, essentially because conservatoid brain that the Conservatives have been in power is all about just kind of pandering to like the worst excesses of some people, and so the kind of parents who get mad about teachers not doing specific things for their coddled and disgusting offspring is those kind of people as the kind of people who they want the Conservatives deliberately want to make happy, the Middle England types, right, the real complainer types. And so the way teachers now have to do work is they essentially have to prepare worksheets for every student individually based upon their own skill set, so that every child doesn't feel like they're being run too fast or too slowly by how they're being educated. And what it's done is like doubled the amount of out of hours work that teachers have to do, and they're being paid less than they were for 2010 for far less work. For far more work, sorry. It's so stupid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
A pay settlement, and you know, he had been working longer for less for a long time as a doctor, and it is a challenge. That is why people are leaving these professions, and it's one of the many crises and many big difficulties that we're inheriting in the country, in the economy, in our public services that we face at the moment.
The Planning and Infrastructure Bill was announced today. It's what you hope will get the country building, and you hope will lead to better than forecast growth. Have you ever objected to the building of housing in your own constituency?
Well, actually, I haven't, but that's not to the point. And in my,
she's in Manchester Central.
You've objected to a student development in your constituency.
Oh, that one I did, yeah, the student development.
I've never done that. Oh no, that one I did. Yeah. Brilliant.
I mean, I'm not surprised to say no to like a student development, because there probably are too many student flats everywhere when there could be, you know, proper residential areas. But even so, I guess Union Manchester and Manchester Met are both in her constituency, so they would need as much accommodation as possible, and they drive the local economy. So you probably do need more student flats than you thinking about it. But even so, I'm like, it's the same thing they're doing to the Greens. Just be like, well, you say you like this broad legislation, but do you not realise that you specifically did this thing one time? And I'm like, can we not just actually discuss the merits of the bill? Can we not just discuss the merits of the bill itself?
I know what you mean. But I'm actually okay with the malfeasance of politicians being exposed. Now, of course, the Tories won't be exposed in this way because, again, the Tory media love it. But I think the cancer of NIMBYism needs to be exposed to the country in a way that isn't often. Because again, it's not in my backyard, so you only ever look at your backyard and you say, oh, your local councillor said they didn't want it, or your MP said they didn't want it. Forgetting, of course, that it's a much broader problem across the entire country. But you don't hear about that because you're not from Norfolk. So the Norfolk MP saying a thing you won't ever hear because you don't read the local paper in Norfolk. You're from fucking Glasgow or wherever, it doesn't matter. And so having this exposed to the public in a way that they begin to understand, oh, well, if everyone's saying it, then nothing ever gets built. That needs to stop. I don't mind that being exposed. Now, when doing this kind of gotcha journalism thing, I think is a bit cheap. But unfortunately, in the kind of media landscape we live in, that's still better than them not doing their job, I guess.
Well, it's the clippable thing that will go viral on like Facebook or TikTok or whatever. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I think my biggest misgiving really is the MP's objection to developments is an artifact of the existing planning consensus that we have right now. They are doing it because there are mechanisms in play that mean that there would be democratic problems for them if they didn't. Whereas when they institute like rules to get rid of local planning consent or to make it harder to block things, it's going to make it less likely for objections to get as far as an MP would have to acquiesce to them to be able to keep their seat, for example. So I think that once you get rid of that, those things will go away regardless whether the MP was internally a NIMBY or not.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes, I did.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
Including, and you backed a local residents group called Block the Block.
Yeah, so that's
also, what I suppose it doesn't take into account as well, to further your point, is that there are issues of like genuine local concern. Sometimes NIMBYism isn't actually NIMBYism. It's legitimate, like, this shouldn't happen. This will fuck up the local ecology. Or we already have loads of X thing, we don't need any more type thing, right? This is unnecessary or unworkable or just needlessly expensive. There are legitimate concerns that people have. So it's not all NIMBYism is quite equal. Like there's some really egregious examples of it, and then there's actually some perfectly, salient points that get made.
I think the big problem as well is just how much kind of private involvement there is in like the planning industry in this country regardless, because it's just like a bunch of urban sprawl with individual private companies buying individual bits of land and building what they want, but then it gets blocked because it's not this thing. Whereas if there were proper local plans that were devised with residents in mind, that had, well, you need to build houses, let's decide collectively where these houses are going to get built based upon a plan, and then a state builder comes along and builds those things with all the amenities necessary. So it's not just like a new massive expansion of private luxury flats that then massively increase the strain on local services because there's not been a proper plan from the state to make sure the amenities come with it. Therefore it's bad for the local residents, bad for the house prices, for example. Again, this is why we have to be all fucking. It's why we actually have to piss off Liz Truss and be Stalinist in our planning. You're getting commie blocks. You just got to choose where they go.
Mr. Satnav, I don't think your plan NIMBY should only apply to nuclear and industrial waste. Well, I don't think so, because who's going to vote to have a nuclear power plant? Because the local losers are going to be like, Fukushima, we're about to be turned into nuclear fucking waste. Like, no. Nuclear power plants, if run properly and they're safe. They're fine, actually. They're certainly far better than having fucking horrific cars spewing cancer into the fucking sky constantly.
Gas fumes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people are literally dying because of inhaling this shit. I hate that. Oh my god, I don't smoke anymore, but when I did, having people who drive cars going about the air quality when people are smoking, you cheeky cunt. Fuck off. You're literally putting fucking lead into the sky. Well, you used to. I mean, now all unleaded, but you get the idea. Like, you're literally destroying air quality. The fucking air in Birmingham's like soup. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Development I did, but just to put that into context, in my constituency, I mean, the boundaries have changed slightly. We've had about 40,000 new homes built over the course of my time of being an MP, and then another 50,000 due to be built, and they're part of a strategic local plan in general, and that's the sort of planning that we want to see speeded up, where you've got strategic local plans that
and actually one thing I did like from the King's speech was, or at least like the sound of. We'll wait and see what the bill is, because again, none of the bills have been published and won't be until after the fucking summer recess. But the devolution of power in England, allowing regional mayors and city mayors far more scope to implement plans, I think is probably a good thing, actually, because again, that combined with ending, or mostly ending, NIMBYism on the planning permission is literally like, okay, so we're going to build X, Y and Z thing, the local people get to decide kind of like where and how and when, but it's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Like that seems like a combination of powers that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that as well is that the only problem I have with that is because obviously this will allow them to be able to put legislation in place to bring buses back under local authority or mayoralty control. The issue I have though is that given that Rachel Reeves has already said there's going to be, they have to increase taxes for extra day-to-day spending, which is what local authority and mayoralty budgets come out of. That's not like capital investment budgets. Where are they going to find the money to do all this nationalisation and rolling out all of these franchised buses owned by the local authority? Seems unlikely.
Local consent that build in areas where people want to see them, where there are inappropriate and poorly devised plans. Of course, there will be some.
Well, that word
opposition.
inappropriate is going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting, isn't it? Because the point of me pointing that out to you, which you'd forgotten about, and
well, only because in the context of there being 40,000 new homes,
I hear you.
more than any other constituency, which I've been thrilled to see.
I hear you, but the point is.
And also, it doesn't make much difference, right? It's probably not worth criticising the MP for Manchester Central about NIMBYism, because I don't think there's anybody there who really cares about their own house price, because they're all already renters and need to have their rental prices go down with an increase in supply. They'd be like, build all of the houses, please.
And there's no space to put a fucking nuclear plant anyway. And no one's going on about the beautification of the... No, there are no fucking fields there. Have you been to Manchester? Manchester Central it's concrete. It's all fucking concrete, and that's fine. It's beautiful people, beautiful place, but like it's not Ray Fiennes' backyard.
No, exactly.
Those are the people actually holding shit back. The people of Manchester Central are not.
When I was living in Manchester Central, they literally built a massive tower of flats just down the road from me, and building was good. It didn't take very long to build either. Didn't even notice.
Saying now about building homes when at a local level you and many of your colleagues who are constituency MPs have objected to developments locally when you consider them to be, quote, inappropriate.
Yeah, because we are, look, first of all, we are unashamedly pro house building. We need to build...
Except not when it's inappropriate.
Hang on a minute, let me finish the point. We need to build 1.5 million new homes.
No, firstly, everyone go and follow Boy Meets Minnie. Good lad. But, secondly, no, we're not coming... Our area isn't quite as bad as New Delhi, or like those Chinese fucking mega cities with the smog and all the rest of it. Which, by the way, the Chinese seem to have tackled rather effectively, but that's...
They have indeed.
Stalinist evil, I'm sure.
Isn't New Delhi the dirtiest city in the world for air quality? Or is that Dhaka?
Well, I'm not sure, but it must be up there. It's got to be a part of the conversation. It's making the Hall of Fame, let's put it that way. It's not quite that bad, but like big cities like London and Birmingham, Manchester, with highly concentrated, dense populations and lots of cars, the air quality is not great.
I mean, the two worst countries are both Bangladesh and India. In terms of country, somebody says the city is Mexico City for the worst air quality.
That wouldn't be surprising. Yeah, again, another massive city. Have you seen the fucking aerial picture of Mexico City and the span it takes? It's enormous. It's like a country in of itself. Huge thing. It's got fucking 20-odd million people in it. Mad shit.
I mean, that happens in loads of places. Like Istanbul's got like millions and millions. It's gigantic as well. La Paz in Bolivia, loads of people there.
China's got half a dozen cities. Like
true. Like, Tokyo.
Thank you, Main Captain, for resubscribing with Prime. Much love. Don't forget, if you wanted to help out either No Justice or myself, or indeed both of us, if you're feeling incredibly generous, you can hit the follow button. You can subscribe. You can subscribe with Amazon Prime. you can give subs to the community as well. If you're on YouTube, you can give money in the form of super chats, or becoming a member, or gifting memberships to the community.
Indeed, a membership is only 99p. It's cheaper than a can of Red Stripe. I've just found out that the country of New Zealand has better air quality than the Seychelles and Vanuatu.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that is incredible.
That's great. It's probably Smaug, I reckon, that's done it. Because he's got all the wealth, none of them can own a car, and so that's so. I think I saw a documentary about it with your man from The Office, Martin Freeman.
Different types, affordable, council and others over the course of this parliament. What we are not calling for is a developer free-for-all, where there are speculative developments that are taking place in the wrong place at the wrong time. We want strategic local plans where local people have designed them, local communities come together and they're building these big plans, meeting the targets that we've already changed in government, and that's how we can see this house building regime that we want to see.
And just for our audience's sake, that the thing that you objected to was turning a disused pub into student accommodation.
Well, it was very high. It was not just a dis. It was a huge high rise. So it was more about the height really than the overall plan.
If it's a high rise, it's good though.
On child poverty, the Work and Pension Secretary Liz Kendall tweeted that she was holding a meeting of experts and campaigners on child poverty to start work immediately on a new ambitious child poverty strategy. And the Prime Minister said it would leave no stone unturned. Starting work immediately, leaving no stone unturned, surely that means lifting the two-child benefit cap.
Well, we're going to look at everything in a child poverty strategy. We are a Labour government. We are
Except doing the obvious. We know the two-child cap keeps hundreds of thousands of kids in poverty. You could do that now. You don't even need legislation for that.
True. Do you not need any legislation at all? And on top of that, we could spend all of this money hiring experts and rolling out this quango to have all of these discussions who meet all the time to devise a child poverty strategy. Or we could take that money and put it into the system that we already have that already exists, that works well, that is being hamstrung by a stupid rule about 2 children.
Yeah.
Committed to reducing child poverty. That's core to what we are about. And there are a whole range of issues that impact on child poverty, from housing to Sure Start centres, early years support, education, costs of energy bills, uniform, parents being in work and decent paid, secure work. There are a whole range of issues that impact on child poverty.
But all the 7 organisations that Liz Kendall convened at that meeting, all of them, they all say lift the cap. Save the Children, for example. The most cost-effective way to reduce child poverty.
Yeah, probably. It sounds anti-Semitic to me.
Yeah, I was like these people. Actually, I tell you what, Kev.
What?
You know what my response would be to all of these experts coming in, all 7 of them saying that you have to end the 2-child benefit cap?
Make it a one-child benefit cap. See how they like it.
The problem is, Kev, is people are tired of experts.
They are tired of experts.
People are tired of experts.
True. Look, we need to embrace our post-truth future. Okay? Enough of this facts. Give me more feels. Yeah?
Lift the 2-child benefit cap.
Well, look, one of the reasons we didn't have that commitment in our manifesto, and we didn't, so people were clear about what our position was on that, was because we've got to actually make sure that the fiscal position is a solid one and that the sums add up. Because I tell you now that the single biggest factor on child poverty in this country is when the economy crashes. We saw it after the economy crashed, the global crash,
That's
and the
not
austerity
true.
that followed.
That's nonsense. That's abject fucking nonsense, Lucy. The people's pension provision, because of an increase in bond yields and mortgage payments increasing, that's not the direct cause of child poverty. That wasn't. Also, it's not a crashed economy either. It was bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to lionize Liz Truss or anything. But that's not crashing the economy. Like, it's not like all of the fucking sheep in Wales died of blight or something. No. Some people lost some money on some pensions. Bad. People had to pay more for their mortgage payments. Also very bad. But all of these things would be fixed neither of these things being fixed would solve all of the problem of child poverty in poor households of people who don't have pensions and don't have mortgages, which is where most of the people who have child poverty are living in those households, who would have much better outcomes if you took away the 2-child benefit cap.
Yeah.
Which you could do, right? You don't
yeah.
need to make the sums add up. You could do it because you could just tax the rich. You could move money around from different departments, say, I know, defence, indeed, from defence, or from the £3 billion we're giving to Ukraine, for example. Or you could, I would rather you did both by taxing the rich. You could do that. You made a choice to do so.
Yeah.
It's like £2 billion, £3 billion, like the absolute kind of chicken feed that it is in budget terms. The fact that they have allowed to frame this as being something that's too expensive for them to do because it might upset the economy, the red line might be sad. It's absolute gutter journalism. At least she's being asked about it by Victoria Derbyshire. But why isn't she? I mean, she might, hopefully, I hope, that she'll just go back and say, "And come on, Lucy, this is nonsense. It doesn't cost that much. You could raise a tiny tax some elsewhere, immediately it's paid for, and 200,000 children out of poverty. Why aren't you making that choice?"
You sound very much like a member of the Anti-Growth Coalition, and I just can't.
Both the Anti-Growth Coalition and the Anti-Semite Coalition.
True.
We saw it after the Liz Truss mini budget, and when the economy crashes, it's not people like you and me more comfortable that pay the price because we can withstand it. Evidence is really clear that pushes up hundreds of thousands into child poverty, and that's why we won't play fast and loose with the economy and with the fiscal position.
You could choose with your fiscal rules. You could choose to fund this now,
but it's incredibly expensive. It's incredibly expensive.
Yeah, but you
No, it
could
isn't.
choose to fund it if you.
It's not actually, no.
It's literally not expensive. What the hell are you talking about, Lucy?
The new range of fucking Trident nuclear missiles, that's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's massively expensive.
Exactly.
Not the amount of tax evasion, that's expensive.
Grant Shapps' new military laser system, also very expensive.
Also very expensive.
If it's so frustrating. You know what's really bad about this? You know what's specifically really bad about this? This framing is the conservative framing of we spend all of this money on welfare, because billions sounds like a lot, even though that the broad scale of government spending, even though the broad scale of government spending is way higher, like trillions of pounds that we basically have to spend in terms of the size of the economy, but people can't comprehend that's a really tiny part of the budget. And so by the conservative scare tacticing people, say, look, all these billions we spend on people who won't actually do it for themselves, that makes people think in their heads that the overall zeitgeist and the tone of the conversation becomes, oh, we need to cut welfare because we spend too much, even though an extra $3 billion is nothing. It's nothing at all.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Tina, too, for the raid. Everyone refresh your screens and follow my friend that I'm with here, Kevin Logan, KFLogan1875, over on Twitch. Everyone mind, go and follow Tina too. Tina_T00.
Well, this is what I want to know. If Tina 2's so good, why wasn't there a Tina 3?
Exactly.
That's what I want to know. But yeah, I mean, as to your point, yeah, it's because they are basically the Tory party, so of course they're going to use the Tory framing of welfare queens. They're expensive. They're a drain on society. Literally, as we have a picture of the biggest welfare queen in existence, with a crown made of stolen shit that's worth billions of pounds on his fucking head, living in a state-subsidised castle in the most expensive strip of land on earth.
Parasite in chief in his idiot hat.
Yeah. But anyway, he was taken from his taxpayer-subsidised castle in a golden carriage to and from Parliament to do the 1 day's work he has to do. But you know, it's the kids that are starving that are the drain on society. Cool story, bro.
You wanted to. It's clearly not a priority because you haven't chosen to fund it. If you lifted it now, you would take 500,000 kids out of poverty now, today.
Everything we do has got to be fully costed. So if you are going to find that if you are, well, we would have to raise the money elsewhere if we were doing it. And that's why we said,
do that then. Yes. Yeah, that you are the government. You're a currency issuer. You get to raise taxes and shit. Like, yes, raise that money and spend it to lift children out of poverty. It's not actually a very difficult process.
Yeah, literally, if you equalised capital gains tax with income tax, you could pay for it 5 times over. You could end the 2-child benefit cap, renationalise Royal Mail, and still have £7 billion left over.
Yeah, let's do that. Sounds dope.
That's why we said before the election that we wouldn't be doing it. But we will, over time, reduce child poverty.
Okay.
That will be a key part of what a Labour government...
Alice in chat brings a very good point. They do need to cut the benefits bill because they need to start paying for all the public restroom genital police. That's
true.
That is going to be expensive. Yeah.
Is all about
over time. Now, in the election campaign, you offered change to voters.
But they had to get the wizard Glinner on board somehow, so the genital police needed to happen.
Yeah.
Change. When will kids in poverty actually experience that change?
Well, over time. There's a whole range of things. That's what this task force will be looking at. And there are
so you're going to make them wait?
There are a whole range of... Look, we're inheriting a really dire economic situation here. We're inheriting huge crises. As you said
you could have
before,
chosen to put less in the National Wealth Fund.
As you were saying earlier, we are inheriting...
let's make that fucking tiny peripheral nonsense even smaller. Even Vicky D is cocked. Let's be honest.
I mean, at least it's not an incorrect statement she's making. She's at least alluding.
It is literally true. They could do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But like, we could massively expand that and pay for tax and pay for to get rid of the cap and nationalise these industries. People forget this. When we nationalised all that shit in the past, like all of the hospitals and gas and electricity and water and fucking British Airways and all of this shit, a quarter of the nation's wealth had just been destroyed and our cities lay in ruins.
Yep.
We don't have that. That's our cities. I mean, they're crumbling a bit, but the Luftwaffe didn't literally just flatten them. And we're still like, no, there's no money left. We can't tax the rich. There's no money left. Oh, the kids are just gonna have to starve.
And again, 6th biggest economy in the world.
Yeah.
No money for feeding starving children.
Yeah. But, you know, and Nye Bevan didn't just sit there and fucking whinge about shit. He got on with the fucking job. And that's why he's remembered positively, and Lucy Powell will be fucking forgotten.
True. And I wish that Victoria Derbyshire would respond here and say, what do you say? There's a dire financial inheritance that you've got, but bond yields are coming down, inflation is back at Bank of England target, it looks like the MPC are going to reduce interest rates at the next meeting in September. So actually, the economy is on the up. There are plenty of things that you could do, on top of the fact that we also have a gigantic economy that you're inheriting full of rich people that you could be taxing.
Yep.
A crisis of teacher retention and recruitment. We're inheriting a huge crisis in the health service, which will be keeping some of these children's parents out of work because they'll be sick from work because they can't get the treatment on the NHS they need. There are a huge number of things that are
so stupid. It's not incorrect, but it's so stupid to frame the problems of the NHS as it's a drag on the economy, rather than it's human well-being. I couldn't give 2 fucks about it being good or bad for the economy. It's about human beings who are sick. I see a sick human being, I want them to be treated, because we have the capability to do so. We live in the most technologically and medically advanced age we have ever lived in. We can treat these people, we should. The fact that it's also good for the economy, yay, but that's irrelevant. And you framing it this way is again just playing into this conservative, every policy needs to be for the red line's benefit bullshit.
It's true. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck for you to govern on behalf of the red line. The red line didn't vote for you and it doesn't pay taxes. You are beholden to the people, not the fucking red line.
Incredibly costly that we are inheriting, and we've got to make those sums add up. You can't compare it to the National Wealth Fund because that's an investment programme. So that's about putting money in to invest that over time you then get back. It's not.
Yeah, and those kids are not worth investing in. Fuck them. Fuck them. Let them starve.
Yeah, that's what. Oh my god. Yeah. The thing is, that's what. So I mean, I hate to essentially just go against what you just said there about treating things that are holistic as being purely for the economy. But if we are going to go through Like the Labour Party's line on this of these things need fixing because they're good for growth, right? So every money we spend in the National Wealth Fund, that's going to create growth to be able to fund other things in the economy. So would reducing child poverty by getting rid of the 2-child benefit cap. Do you think that children who grow up hungry are going to be productive workers creating extra GDP? No, they're not going to be. Do you think that children who have interrupted brain and body development because of lack of food, because they've grown up in poverty, do you think these people are going to be a burden on the healthcare service, or someone that's going to be a contributor to the healthcare service in their life? These are all important.
Talking of the physical development, literally, we have the first generation that's shorter than the previous generation now. They're centimetre shorter, the Gen Z. It's centimetre shorter because of austerity fucking bullshit. Sorry, Gen Alpha, not Gen Z. The first shorter generation in about 300 fucking years.
Exactly. And that will also mean that it's not just short-term growth, but long-term growth is going to get screwed up by that as well.
Yeah.
So they're just here essentially saying that, well, we can't spend money on this plan that's good for growth, but we can spend this other plan that's good for growth, but also doesn't have the added side effect of making children less sick.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Yeah. Fucking mad. This is the world we live in. It honestly is ghoulish. It's fucking demonic. Mad.
Same as day-to-day spending, so that wouldn't that fits on our fiscal rules in a way that this wouldn't.
Thank you very much for talking to Newsnight. Thank you, Lucy Powell. Nigel Evans, government figures estimate that over 4 million children, or 30% of all children in the UK, are in poverty at the end of 14 years of a Tory government. You can't be proud of that.
No, I'm not proud of any youngsters who are living in poverty whatsoever.
Why did you let it get
no,
so
well,
big?
Yeah, exactly, yeah, why? You don't get to come on here and do the sad face and nod along with the point. You did this.
You voted through all the budgets. Literally, you've been in Parliament the entirety of the time the Tories have been in power, and you voted for every single one of the Osborne budgets, which, may I remind you, Nigel, killed 330,000 people.
True, but...
And that's before we get to the pandemic.
Well, exactly, yeah.
I think it all comes down to the fact that extra money has been provided in different ways to support families. This pay cap on the 2 youngsters, it's fascinating that the Labour Party didn't put it in their manifesto, and the fact is that Lucy Powell has just said that they're not going to lift that either. They have to have a growing
Why
economy.
is that fascinating?
Well, no, it's fascinating because it's basically consistent with the line that my government took. They're not moving away from that. And it's only if you get a growing economy, and we've yet to see, Mick, with all the legislative changes that have been announced today.
Honestly.
And listen, I'm going to say this, Victoria.
Literally, and the animals look from beast to man and from man to beast again, and they couldn't tell which was which.
I agree. James Unwin's Animal Factory. Great book.
Absolutely.
Great book.
We lost the election. The government has been absolutely punished and chucked out. And I wish this new Labour government well in its ambition for the country. I want to see my country doing well. I know that most people say, let's see what they can do in the first 100 days. And everybody's, like, governments are judged in 100 days. But let's just see what they can do with this legislative programme. I know the intention is right, but the devil is in the detail in a lot of this, and we'll see whether the economy does grow.
Is a U-turn coming on the 2-child benefit?
Well, I don't know how they're going to make it work, because 2/3 of these people are in work. And what that means is people are not being paid the full rate for the work they're doing.
Exactly.
What we're doing is subsidising employers who are...
Literally the base point, yeah. This is just welfare queenism for billionaire companies.
Literally, exactly.
You're not actually paying for the people, you're paying the underpaying. You're making up the difference for the underpaying by vast corporations who make enormous profits, who then don't pay tax and fuck all their money into Switzerland and the Cayman Islands. It's grotesque.
Pushing forward low pay. Now, employers have to pay the right amount of money. You get a growing economy by paying the workers the right amount so they're not on benefits and not having to get free school meals and not having to use food banks.
Which is what
so
the government was doing that with the living wage, wasn't it, Meg? It
well,
was saying
but the employers tell us that the living
employers.
wage will make them go...
Right, but the living wage didn't do that, because as he just pointed out, 2/3 of these people aren't fucking working. Just
Exactly.
because you stole the trade unions thing, because this is what happened, right? The Labour Party in the 90s introduced the minimum wage, which we literally hadn't ever had before, which was, you know, one of the achievements of that government, to be fair. And again, the Tories were like, oh, it's going to kick a gazillion people on the dole. It didn't. It was actually quite good for the economy, surprisingly. What a shock. Anyway, yeah, and then the Trade Union Congress had what was called the living wage, which was always significantly ahead of the minimum wage, because that was the actual amount of money you should pay someone for doing a lower skilled job in order for them to allow to live in the economy, right? So it kept up with inflation and all the rest of it, and it was always significantly above it. And so the Tory government decided to do a PR change and steal that phrase, living wage, and just tack it onto what was existing as the minimum wage. They didn't raise it to it, and it's still nowhere near the TUC's estimate of what the living wage should be, but they gave it a nice glossy spin to it.
Exactly. And at the same time, they've also been pushing policy on the other end that stops wages going up for everybody. Supply side labour market reforms, taking away trade union rights. They, on top of the Thatcherite ones, they also did extra trade union rights removals in 2016, and then also did the minimum service levels bill under Boris Johnson, whilst also just in general stripping away people's terms and conditions and ushering in the casualisation of the workforce as well. You can't sit here, Nigel, and talk about wages going up being a good thing when your government literally tried to reduce wages at every single turn, so much so they stagnated for 14 years, and we're now £9,000 per year behind where we would have been if wages had grown at the same since 2010 as they were before.
Yep.
Bust. They tell us that...
But the number of billionaires has quadrupled.
It has indeed.
So that's cool. It's good to know where our money's gone. It hasn't literally disappeared. It's now just in the Cayman Islands.
Equal rights from day one will make them go bust, that they can't afford to live in this economy. The rich say that as soon as they get taxed, they will leave the country and take all their wealth away, and then tell us that they're patriots. So people have to pay their taxes on good wages. Good wages will lift people out of poverty.
Well, literally, the Daily Mail, the supposedly patriotic paper, guess where it's based? It's it's the
Jersey,
the Shell company, yeah, the Shell company that owns the Daily Mail is based in Jersey, the Crown dependency off the coast of France, one of the Channel Islands, because of tax reasons. But we're the unpatriotic ones for wanting rich people to pay their tax. Cool story. Yeah.
Don't have the benefits bill we've got now. That has been a 40-year problem since Thatcher first got elected, that we put people out of work and then we pay them benefits and then we say the benefit bill's too big. The employers have got to play their part. They've got to pay people properly and then get people off benefits, paying their own way and paying
That's
tax.
what the living wage was all about, and I think it's been a great success.
But it was resisted by the employers all of the way.
Well, it may well have been, but the government didn't listen, did it? Because it kept putting it up.
Everyone was so skint, that's why.
And it did during the last budget.
And the cap?
The cap has to go.
When?
Well, as soon as possible. They've got to find a way to do it, because they are condemning people to a cycle of poverty. It also means people can't go to work properly. What we need to do is enable people to go to work for a good living wage so they can pay their rent, pay their mortgages, get their kids' shoes and buy a loaf of bread.
Because the best way out of poverty is to
work.
I'm just wondering as well whether, with a big majority, when it comes to the budget, when maybe this is the opportunity when some Labour MPs may start to rebel. So having a huge majority, maybe
want that.
not.
He may want the rebellion earlier so that he can defeat
there may well be a rebellion there. It'll be interesting to see what...
Yeah, okay, so Maria looked it up. The current living wage is $13.50 in London, and the rest of the UK is $12.25. Whereas the TUC reckon the minimum, the living wage they have is nearly £16 an hour.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show you how much you're being stolen. And that's, I mean, the TUC are not exactly the most firebrand organisation in the world, because they have to, they have a lot of different trade unions, some of which are shite. So they, they're a kind of mixed bag.
GMB.
They're a mixed. Yeah, the good management boys are definitely a part of that. but they're by no means alone, unfortunately, in that regard. So they're not the most radical, and so even they are saying the minimum wage needs to be what, nearly £3 an hour higher than it currently is.
Mm.
So that's just calling it the living wage, Nigel, does not make it an actually living wage, because it isn't.
Nope.
These new Labour MPs
what
do.
they can't do is just offer working groups. They've offered a commission or a working group. That's not going to get anybody a loaf of bread on Friday. They need the benefits to be sorted out. When you do the benefits, then you can sort out through a commission how you get people in from low-paid work into better-paid work and move them on.
Okay. Well, Rishi Sunak, as leader of the opposition, had to respond to the King's speech, of course, today, and he also demonstrated he can make the Commons laugh.
On the government benches, life comes at you fast. Soon you might be fortunate enough to be tapped on the shoulder and offered a junior ministerial role. Then you'll find yourself attending cabinet, then in the cabinet, and then when the Prime Minister's position becomes untenable, you might end up being called...
Oh, look, there was no need to bring out the metal chair on Liz Truss. She's not even in the room. She chose not to be there to defend herself.
And she has a right to defend herself.
Indeed.
Only within international law.
Exactly. Honestly, she should write to her MP and complain.
to the highest office.
Well, Mick Lynch laughed at that. Nigel Evans, as a defeated MP, were you laughing along with Rishi Sunak?
Not particularly, no, because it is still raw, for people like...
Oh, did someone lose their gravy train ticket? Oh, boo-hoo!
Oh, I wanted to immiserate more poor people and they won't let me because I lost my sheep.
You little bitch.
Thank you for the Prime Sub. Thank you for the Prime Sub Mode Bong, which is a great name.
Love it.
Myself after 32 years, but I also felt sorry for a number of my colleagues who only after 4.5 years have been chucked out on their year. They're not. Listen, I'm on a pension. I'm 66, Victoria. I know you're thinking, surely not with all the makeup that you do downstairs. But the fact is, I'm okay.
They're putting makeup on downstairs. That's not even out. Why are they doing that? What's going on there?
I'm not asking this flippantly in any way.
Yeah.
You met with these 120 or so. Some have stood down, some lost their seats. Did people shed tears?
Not tonight, no. But I remember talking to one shortly after the election, and he said I could be bankrupt by Christmas. And I know people.
Well, he'll know how all of those people he immiserated ended up. Maybe that might teach you. It's a learning day for you, friend. Enjoy bankruptcy.
True.
Enjoy poverty. You seem to have loved it perfectly well for everybody else, so have fun. Don't ask for any benefits, by the way, because they're being means tested, and you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Aren't going to, get violins out. And
Could have lived on his salary.
well, no doubt you did. I tell you what, people were making plans. And I suspect when you're on a majority of 20-odd thousand, the last thing you thought was going to happen is that you were going to lose your...
Oh, you thought you were entitled to that position forever. Oh, well, I do feel very sorry for him now. No, honestly, you're making me... I'm going to cry. I need to get my tissues out here. This man thought he was just entitled to 90 grand a year, sitting on his fat ass, on his fucking... on his massive majority, and then he got fucked just because he voted to make everyone's life shit. You know what? Enjoy poverty.
Absolutely.
You have fucking earned it.
I'd already used up all of my tears crying about Jonathan Ashworth losing his 2,000 vote majority.
Yeah.
And now I've got to cry against another person who's an awful piece of shit losing their gigantic majority.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. The Tories have not learned. Their entitlement is sickening. People don't like that. Cut it the fuck out.
And the atmosphere amongst some of the remaining Conservative MPs is pretty gloomy. One of them, a former minister, said to me, quoting the Bible, "The living are envying the dead."
But are they going to go to the right?
Yeah.
These fucking melodramatic pricks. The living with the dead. Oh, shut the fuck. They're fine. Look, I know you're probably going to earn less, as a member of parliament and have to work significantly harder than the 12 hours a year working for a fucking policy institute or whatever. But, you know, you could also not be fucking pricks about it. You are supposed to be public servants. You're supposed to want that position. Fucking hell.
And on top of that as well, it's just like that guy's been in for 32 years in Parliament.
Yep.
Like, and like so, assuming the 90k is just the same in real terms what it usually was in today's money, just making like, you know, over £2 million off of the state in that time. I'm like, yeah, sure, mate. You know. I think you're gonna be fine. I think you're gonna be fine, unless you've spaffed it all the way on like cocaine and hookers.
Which, to be fair, they probably have. That, and obviously paying their mistresses to have abortions, which is not cheap. So, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you've got to have, we've got to pay for the belts for the autoerotic asphyxiation as well, Stephen Milligan style. Not that I'm saying that Nigel Evans has done this. This is a joke, by the way.
Poppers are not free, okay?
The danger of the Tories, you go to the right again.
We're just about to go through this beauty contest, right? And they've got to get it right. They've got to get it right. They've got to establish trust again with the electorate. We certainly didn't do that at the general election. And anybody who thinks we've got 121 MPs, they think that's as low as you can get, forget it. There's a basement. And if we don't get this beauty contest right, then they'll soon discover.
You're not going to get it right with the people that you've got standing.
Well, we don't know who they all are.
Well, they're going to be all ultra-right, aren't they?
The Keir Starmer said today, the snake oil charm of populism may sound seductive, but it drives us into the dead end of further division and greater disappointment.
I thought that was an interesting comment. That was obviously aimed at Farage, although again, Farage has chosen not to be in the room to defend himself. But he was clearly and obviously pointed at the Reform faction, I suppose. Or just in general, the way in which the phrase populism has come to mean just fascist shit, I think it's a really dangerous narrative, and left populism needs to get its fucking boots on at some point and make a comeback, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think that the Greens are being populist enough.
No, they're not. They're absolutely not. No.
One of, as Mick Lynch is saying, one of the debates within the Tory party is whether to embrace some of that populism. Would that be the way to go in your view?
It's going to be really difficult for the Tories to do that, because populism at its core is the people against a corrupt oligarchy. But the Tories are the corrupt oligarchy.
Yeah, exactly.
So how the fuck do they... Like, I'm sorry, having all privately educated former hedge fund managers trying to be... What, fucking men of the people? How's that going to happen?
Well, exactly. That's why again, I guess they might try and do what Reform UK are doing, and trying to pretend that the oligarchic elites aren't indeed billionaires and hedge fund managers and bankers, because 3 of them are literally bankers for the Reform UK MPs, or property developers, or commodities brokers.
Yeah.
So they're going to try and say that the oligarchic elite are like woke liberal arts teachers or whatever, like they're the elite, when maybe it's like the corporations, the elites actually.
No, it's DEI officers.
Yeah,
exactly.
Diversity managers in the NHS.
True.
I always used to say to John Major, we've tried unpopular and then we've tried popular. On the whole, I prefer popular. I don't think that you end up having to upset the...
Populism doesn't mean popular, you prick. Oh, God, these people are so fucking stupid.
They are.
Right. You can be an unpopular populist. You can be an...
George Galloway.
George Galloway being an absolutely prime example, yes. Populism is not about being popular, because then you don't get to decide what you are, because that's based on what other people think, which is fucking stupid. Populism is literally the idea of speaking on behalf of a large, socially lower down group of people against a smaller, more powerful, corrupt elite. That's the dynamic involved there. That's what populism is. It's speaking on behalf of the larger group of people, not that the larger group of people like you. You fucking daft bastard.
Yeah.
And this cunt was voting on our laws for 32 years. No wonder we're absolutely fucked. Every time you hear one of these dickheads speaking, whether it's some knobhead in the press or some former MP. They're just morons, grifters, corrupt, self-interested, greedy bastards. They're all of the idea of democracy is that it sort of filters bad people out, but actually we've built a system where it filters the good people out, like Myrie Black or whoever, and allows this kind of wanker to just fucking flourish.
Yeah, 32 years just sitting there and unable to get voted out because it's a safe seat. It's so dumb.
Well, that's because he's popular.
That's the thing, is that the framing of populism just being about doing what's popular rather than what fits the populist narrative is that what all that does is signal to fans of populism, people like myself, we don't want to do things that's popular. Democracy is bad because doing popular things would be populism. I'm like, no. If you think your thing is, if you won the election, surely that should be because your policies are popular. When if none of them are popular and you're winning anyway, it's just that democracy is fucked and the populists were right.
Yeah.
The electorate unnecessarily. I can hear what Mick is saying as far as the new leader. They're all from the right. That's not true. Yeah, Priti Patel, I saw her today, and it looks as if she's on manoeuvres.
Well,
Tom Tugendhat,
he'll get crushed.
There's 121 there, right?
But he'll get crushed.
From which this new leader,
Tugendhat, being such a small statist, came out and said that he actually agreed with the stop the oil protesters going to prison. So.
Oh, yeah, it's true. We love small state conservatism.
Yeah,
Randy
awesome.
Clark's big fan.
Yeah, the boot of the state. Literally always they out themselves. It's don't tread on me specifically. Tread on everyone else. Yeah, that's fine. Just not me.
Is going to come, but I want to hear the vision of whoever they happen to be. I want to hear how they're going to establish the trust. I don't want to see them lurching into the territory already occupied by the Reform Party. I don't want to see them lurching to the left either. I want to see them going to the...
You don't want to see them lurching to the left? I don't think you need to worry. I don't see that happening.
I mean, hopefully they're not going to be doing the time warp, so it should be all right.
Well, it's like they've done the time warp, but they forgot the leap to the left every now and then. They're just leaping further and further right.
Very centre and offering the public what they need, but also when you promise it, you deliver it, and that's why we were punished.
Don't say I'm not going to give you names.
I'm not going to give you names, Victoria. I'm certainly not going to give you names.
Who do you like the look of?
I just want to see what the vision is. I want to hear. It's not how they look.
I know. I don't mean that.
What they say.
Literally.
No, I want to hear what they say. And
he's Welsh. Sure. Love it. Love it. Sure.
Be listening very carefully over the next few months.
Patel, Kemi Badenoch, Tom Tugendhat.
I'm just going to listen to what
you know them all very well.
I know them all incredibly well.
They'd all be outbidding each other to move to the right.
Listen, just wanting to be leader of the Tory party because you want to be leader is not good enough. It is because...
I like that Mick Lynch is doing like the anti-hype man thing. Rather than making him sound good, he's just undermining every sentence he says by pointing out how full of shit he is.
Literally, just like the bit in Hot Fuzz, right? Where the Andes are in the background going, prick,
yeah. You want to use that position to ensure that the public at the end of the day, when you become the government, are going to be better off. Mick, you and I actually want to see the same thing. We may have different means of getting there.
We want the country to be better.
I want to hear...
You don't do that by lurching to the right and dividing the country again. You'll end up with a northern party that is a right-wing party that is Farage's party and a southern party that is the Conservative Party. That's your danger, that you'll actually split again. And if you've only got these maniacs from the right, you'll get punished again at the ballot box, while Starmer hopefully gets on with driving the country forward, and people will be talking about a progressive agenda, and all you'll be left with is a load of reactionaries tearing each other's eyes out.
And that's why we're not going to...
Which is literally already happening. Did you see, oh God, Andrea Jenkins? Again, the cattiness of these fucking people. Where are they? She tweeted out. So, Dame Andrea Jenkins, formerly Secretary of State for something or other, the one that swore at the protesters, did the bird, flipped them the bird because she's a piece of shit.
On the way into number 10.
Indeed. Leadership contender Victoria Atkins, still an MP. I won't vote for her. Sneered when I took Clifford to an event after the general election, and I think it's unacceptable for her staff to badmouth me and Brexiteers in parliamentary email. To fellow Conservatives, we must elect a true Conservative as leader. We can't have Remainer Victoria Atkins, see below. And let's not forget she previously said Fireman Sam should be a woman. We want common sense conservatism, not woke Lib Dem nonsense.
That's incredible. But it's funny, right? When you get these kind of attitudes from people, where they just like the circular firing squad is so strong about other people. Because again, I think the only faction of politics that doesn't do this is like the Labour left.
Yeah.
And it's because you can tell like who the political careerists are, because all they do is just talk smack about other people or leak smack about other people, rather than actually working on policy.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for anyone wondering there, the initial tweet was from 2019. Oops, sorry. So that the first one was 2019, but the actual response as such, the second bit that I read was from the 17th of July, so today. Yeah. So she's still bitching about her 5 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's so
just
catty.
Unbelievable dumb shit. Anyway, yeah. So apparently, the Tories have learnt nothing. Apparently, it's woke Fireman Sam that's the real big issue that everyone cares about.
I mean, true.
Yeah, exactly. I will not stand. I will not cease until Postman Pat is trans. It's the only way. Postman Patricia needs to happen.
Absolutely.
I believe lurch to the right or the left, and of course the other side.
We won't mention a bet on that.
The other side of the coin will be as well that whatever a Conservative Party and the new leader is going to be promising, it's going to be judged against the delivery of Keir Starmer as well, and it's not going to be all plain sailing. We know that, Nick. You'll know that there'll be events, dear boy, the knowns and the unknowns, and all that sort of stuff, and how Keir Starmer manages that. And just because he's got a big majority doesn't mean it's going to be plain sailing.
And it's interesting, Nigel, you say you want time for a debate. I mean, I reported just over a week ago that David Cameron and William Hague had gone to Rishi Sunak and said, do a Michael Howard, stay on until the autumn, let the party conference be a beauty parade amongst the leadership contenders, give us time.
It'll be a fucking bloodbath. What are you talking? A beauty parade?
I mean, the longer that they spend fighting amongst each other, picking a leader, the worse it's going to get for them. Yeah. I'd say pull off the band-aid, get it done as quickly as possible.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, because let's be honest, the quote-unquote debate they want to have is like, should we gas people who arrive in dinghies, or should we just shoot them? Like, that's the debate they want to have, right? So it doesn't really matter. You're going to get some weirdo fucking far-right piece of shit. Just elect them and get on with it, because that's the only chance you have of survival. Nigel Farage is gaining ground on you every day, and he's not even in the fucking country. Like, guys, this is embarrassing. The Conservative Party conference is going to be a fucking bloodbath. It's going to be like the fucking Colosseum. Lions eating Christians, Christians eating lions. Where does it end?
It looks like, what I was picking up today in Parliament, it looks like the party is heading in that direction, that sort of thing.
So it'll be the party conference when the two candidates at the end will be able to make their presentations. People will be able to hear what they've got to say before, and this is the important thing, the membership decide.
And will there be a move to get Farage involved?
I hope not. I hope not. He's done enormous.
And the last time the membership decided, they gave you Liz Truss.
Yeah, but Farage did enormous.
Yeah. They should have just gone with the letters straight up.
Damage to my party, and they've ended up with a government which is diametrically opposed to what Nigel Farage believes.
Doesn't mean you won't get in there.
Let me give you a flavour of
I mean,
what's on
they both seem to believe the
pages
same things
tomorrow.
on the fucking boats, though, right?
Yeah.
Daily Telegraph. Starmer unveils his big state. The Guardian, we've got Labour puts growth and planning at
Honestly, the Daily
of...
Telegraph really are not handling this well at all. They are coping and seething. It's been a couple of weeks now, lads. You can't, come on, surely you've got a bit of fucking post-nut clarity on this. No? Okay.
A promise to fix the UK. And Starmer tries to ward off rebellion with the child poverty plan. The Daily Mail, how will these new burdens on firms help growth?
There you go. Just in case you were wondering who they serve at the Daily Mail. But it's firms. It's big companies. That's literally who they care about. Labour's Red Revolution. Oh, you people are clowns. Honest to God.
Again, literally extra power for unions, rights to work from home. Like, yeah, these are good things.
Yeah, awesome.
It's incredible. Like, do you think that every single person who reads is just like a business owner? Do they not just think anybody will read this? Go, ooh, the Red Revolution sounds like a good thing. That's why whenever I got this theory, right, is that since the end of the Cold War, most millennials obviously never lived through, never lived through kind of the Cold War narrative on these things. Ever since then, millennials have grown up not knowing the Cold War, but knowing that everything that left wing is essentially socialism. Right wingers would just code anything good as socialism. And so what they've done is create more left wingers by saying all these good things you want, that's socialism and it's bad. And rather than attaching the negative connotation to socialism, they've connected the positive connotations of the policies to socialism. That's why they're all socialists now.
Yeah, true. Also, anti-strike law repeal. Like, so you're not pro free markets then? Because if you're not allowed to withdraw your labour, that's not a free market, is it, friend?
No.
Hello there, guitar guy Nick in chat. You should hit the follow button. I'm calling you out personally for having not already hit the follow button. You don't want to be anti-Semitic. Come on now. I mean, I'm not Jewish, so it wouldn't actually be that. But regardless.
As the Mail calls it, Labour's workers' rights revolution. They say it will cost jobs and choke growth. The Times, PM seeks deal with Europe on migrants, I should say, and the Eye, Avanti first rail firm at risk of nationalisation, the FT. Starmer promises decade of renewal with bills geared to unlocking growth. Nick, tomorrow at Blenheim Palace, quickly, that's what the Times is referring to. PM seeks deal with Europe on migrants.
That's right, we're getting that summit tomorrow. I believe, I haven't had this confirmed, that Joe Biden, I think, has tested... It has been confirmed that Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID.
R.I.P. Can we get some R.I.Ps in chat? He's definitely dead.
It's Jovid. It's Jovid.
Yeah, it's...
Which is why we were due to see him give a speech, and that hasn't happened.
The coronavirus?
Yes, he was due to speak in Las Vegas, actually, at a social justice
Apparently he's going to be making
event.
a speech after the RNC.
Wow, okay.
Biden expected to make major announcement about his future soon after our RNC concludes.
He has to fuck off. He has to fuck off.
Is the event actually in Vegas?
That's in chat from Mario Rend.
Tested positive
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I think she might have she's about to go nuclear, I think. Yeah.
Right, that is it from us. Thank you to Mick Lynch. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, not to Nigel, just thank you to Mick Lynch. Yes, that holds true. When is he due to speak? Does it say? Because I might stay on if he's about to speak like soon. But other than that, I'm just going to leave it till tomorrow. Chat, find out for me. When is Joe Biden awake next? Do they know? Have they coked him up yet or what? I don't know. Well, they don't need to now. If he's going to step down, you can just go out there and just fucking mumble. Who cares? Let him go. Anyway.
Also, I don't know if you've seen, there's apparently riots going on in Leeds right now.
What? There's riots in Leeds? Bus on fire and police car overturned in disorder. Okay. We can have a look at this, I think. Where's this? So, a police car has been flipped over onto its side. Nice. Can we get some 1312s in chat? After disorder broke out in Hare Hills in Leeds, West Yorkshire Police said officers were initially called to reports of a disturbance at an address on Luxor Street, and further pockets of disorder have broken out. Social media footage linked showed large crowds of people on the streets, a bus on fire, blah blah blah.
We got
Does it give any reason as to why this is happening? No injuries. Oof, that's a bit. That doesn't look great.
Any idea what set it off?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say on this BBC report. And we can look at Twitter, but it'll just be like, oh, brown people did it.
Nazis,
or something.
yeah.
I mean, I'll have a look. was it Hare Hills? Hare Hills? West Yorkshire Police running away in Hare Hills the same night Leeds got promoted. They pulled the
Run, piggy, run!
Nice. Green Party councillor Mothin Ali stopping rioters from adding to the chaos. Oh, see, they're fucking sold out. The Green Party sold out.
See, just after I said that he'd be more populist, he's out here trying to stop riots.
Unbelievable.
He follows me on TikTok. I think he's the Moth Alley's a bit of a Chad.
Yeah. Contrary to far right accounts on here saying nothing, Councillor Mothin Ali has been actively trying to calm this. Oh, so they're saying, so okay, so brown guy goes to disturbance, tries to stop it, and the far right are like, look, he's rioting. Unbelievable.
Well, it's what they did during like the London riots as well, didn't they? Apparently, was it a Romanian community started?
Yeah, by Romanian community, not Islamic. Romanian because you lot always blame us. They rioted because police and social services removed Romanian children from their parents. Ah. Yeah. Yeah.
Pigs always going to be the ones causing these things every single time.
Oh wow, there's actual footage of them overturning the police car.
Oh shit, that sounds hot. Let's watch that.
It is. I'll be honest with you, it's a deeply erotic experience. Okay, here we go.
You like it, bro.
Average Millwall away game.
Yeah. Welcome to the hills is the quote. Okay, yeah, fair enough, lads. Fair enough. That's all
That's
right.
good if we think is the father explaining. If someone could pop the link in.
Yeah.
Green Party councillor Mothin Ali for Hare Hills Leeds seen help extinguishing the remains of the bus from the fire tonight in Leeds. People accusing him of participating. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, that is fucking. Yeah, look, he's literally got buckets of water. For fuck's sake. Honestly, racists are just fucking scum. They really are. Fuck me, that is. Wow.
You want some? I'll give it you.
Yeah, exactly. You got no fans, you got no bus.
Oh, hang on a minute. There's an interview with the Green Party guy talking about the stuff that's going on.
Yeah, pop that in the old
in the Twitter DMs.
Yeah, and I'll put that up. Thank you, guitar guy Nick, for following. After I verbally accosted you. Let's have a look. Hang on a minute. Hang on a blinking minute. Dee-dee-dee. Oh, hang on a minute. So this is him, is it?
Yes, this is the Green candidate. This is the Green councillor for Hare Hills, Mothin Ali, who's been around helping extinguish flames and try and stop people from rioting. There's another video apparently somewhere as well of him actually trying to stop people from rioting at the time. And he's being interviewed here by just somebody on TikTok about what's going on.
Fair enough.
Or Instagram Live.
What's happened is an absolute travesty. Areas like this have been neglected for so long. Tensions have been boiling up, and people have been let down. The authorities have let people down. The communities, the community's just been completely neglected.
Yeah.
This was inevitable at some point.
I agree.
So when we had the initial incident, we were trying to calm it down. We were standing in front of the police, providing a barrier for the police, protecting them, trying to calm the families down. If we could have got the social services to agree to even talk to the parents and have some kind of conversation, this wouldn't all have happened. Do you know? Yeah. It was that stubbornness from the head of social services that just absolutely no compromise, no conversation, no dialogue. And that's the way that people in Hare Hills are treated. Do you know,
what a surprise. Like every fucking riot that happens, local authorities refuse to engage with the community, an impoverished, overlooked community, often of ethnic minorities. They get treated fucking poorly anyway, and eventually people have had a fucking enough. Yeah, it's the story as old as time itself. If you remember the rioting surrounding the murder of the man in London, the black guy, whose name escapes me completely.
Mark Duggan.
Mark Duggan, thank you. Which sparked off huge riots in 2011, wasn't it? The kind of austerity riots, if you will. Was exactly that. It's because the police, A, murdered a guy, right? Lied about it, said that he had fired a bullet, when actually the bullet came from the fucking police. They literally did forensic reports on it. Then refused to even tell the family where they were keeping his body. So the family didn't even know where they could pick his body up from to fucking give him a burial, which, by the way, is illegal. The police committed crimes in doing that. They then refused to go out and speak to them when there was a smaller protest outside the local police station, and eventually they went, well, fuck this then. If they're not going to listen to us, we're going to burn the fucking place down. Because people will only take so much of this shit.
That's the thing, is that so much of these problems are caused, again, as a basis in material conditions which have continually degraded. That's why it pops off in 2011. It's why it's popping off now. And of course, what's important is that in a world in which community has been broken down by neoliberalism and individualism, having people who are there to stand up for community, like Mothin, as we're seeing here, and like, remember that woman with the black woman on the streets of London trying to stop people rioting, shouting at people like, you're destroying your own streets as well. Like, these are really important to try and calm these things down when they do happen, because the authorities just create more of a non-conciliatory dynamic, and more kind of opposite dynamic, opposing dynamic to people. That it only makes things worse overall. And I forgot where I was going to go with that one, but either way, yeah, like it's super important to see people on the ground trying to cool things down. I've just posted another video in the so there's the rest of this interview as well. Sorry.
Yeah, I've got this.
They don't want to talk to us. Yeah. If they'd have spoke to those parents, this wouldn't all have happened. You know?
Yeah.
The police tried. The police. Credit to the police. Initially, it was very peaceful. The police weren't using heavy-handed tactics. They weren't using any sort of force. So credit to them, right? Yeah. The mistake that was made was they were given the order to retreat initially. And when they were given the order to retreat, that just egged everyone on. Everyone got excited and attacked, and that's the thing that caused the problem. But it's communities like this that are just let down, and these things they're simmering under the surface. And when we're neglected, this is what ends up happening. You know, if those parents were treated with respect and dignity, treated with fairness. To the head of social services, trying to get through to them. If we could have got a dialogue going, we could have got this sorted a long time.
So Martin, you're saying you previously raised this with social services?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I've only just I've only just got involved tonight. I saw what was happening on social media, and I headed straight down here.
And how should they resolve this going forward?
So we communicate. I mean, at the moment, it's kind of.
So I've just posted another video of him in the chat, of him actually doing the cleanup and trying to stop people from making things go further. As you can see there.
So it says, country to far right, okay. Oh yeah, and this is the one I read out, yeah.
He's a good man. He's a good man. He's trying to stop it. He doesn't condone this behaviour. I really want to help him, but
literally grabbing a pallet out of someone's hand.
Councillor Motin Ali from Green Party is stopping it.
Typical NIMBYism. No rioting in my backyard. The Greens are a fucking disgrace.
But as you can see, he's literally shouting at the people doing the rioting, just like that woman was in the 2011 riots. What an absolute legend! Doing what is necessary to try and protect his community. And again, something's been ravaged by austerity. Like, these are the kind of areas of the country that have been super run down by continual conservative governance, and people's material conditions are always the basis for these things. Again, that's why society breaks down. When, especially not just when the material conditions break down, but when they only break down for some people, when only certain communities are affected, when the city of London is full of people living the high life and the rest of the country is absolute in bits because of failures of keeping money inside communities, it all's going to boil over into these kind of things when sparks set it off, like people having their kids taken away.
True. Kevin, will you please introduce your guest? Well, my guest, my co-hostess with the co-mostess, is No Justice MTG, who you should all go and follow immediately.
Absolutely.
The house is going to be built like that. Think before you act. Children in there. Your families in there. Think before you act. There's no one in. Those cameras are recording each and every one of us.
Bro, I'm just here to get warm, bro. My heat failed. My boiler's broken.
This 10 years ago, and they got their whole life destroyed. Use your brains. You're not excited.
Absolute Chad. Facing down a crowd of rioters and fucking screaming at them. Good lad.
Absolutely, absolutely. But the thing is, I just posted another link in DMs, which just shows you how the right are responding to this.
Let me guess, incredibly racistly.
Oh, you bet it is. You bet it is.
Hey, of course it is, old Nige. Let's have a look in a second.
I agree. I agree.
You can't treat it like this. You're right, brother. You're right. Yes, brother. You can't treat your neighborhood like this. No, there now. No. Right, brother.
Councillor Mutin Ali from Green Party.
I love that with that accent. Council Mutin Ali from the Green Party. It's like it's a Yorkshire Indian mix. It reminds me of like the Four Lions, basically.
Rupert Rapids, bro.
Yeah. What is he, a martyr or a fucking jalfrezi?
Jalfrezi.
He was labelled a bad man, but he's not.
Yes. So this is Nige. You took time out from his sojourns in Wisconsin to say, the politics of the subcontinent are currently playing out on the streets of Leeds. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Which is crazy. For one thing, first of all, like, why would that necessarily be the politics of the subcontinent? And second of all, the rioters were the Romanians, who are Europeans,
Yes.
and the ones who are trying to stop the riots, specifically the one we've seen there, Motin Ali, is, I believe, of either Pakistani or Bangladeshi heritage, who is from the subcontinent, who was the one trying to stop the disorder, who's the one who understands his community enough to go down and literally try and stop people from inciting further riots.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable shit. This fucking ghoul, this freak, who couldn't give two fucks about this country, obviously, when we've literally got the King's Speech happening, he's off there fucking suckling upon the balls of Donald Trump. When literally no one from the Trump camp even asked him to go. He just went and did it anyway.
No.
So, like,
Indeed.
so you clearly don't give a fuck about this country. Secondly, this isn't the politics of the subcontinent, you twat. We had rioting going on here before there were, like, many brown people here. Like, the fucking Waterlooville massacre happened, motherfucker. Not many people of colour around at the time. Just saying. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You racist prick. You're a member of fucking parliament. Maybe act with some level of decorum. For fuck's sake. You absolute wanker.
Again, they're just obsessed with this idea. They're just obsessed with this idea of importing a foreign culture to our country that's going to destroy Britain. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just like, well,
fascism. It's just fascist shit,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It's
And then the ones on the streets trying to clear it up, the ones on the streets trying to stop people, are the same people that he admonishes as being culturally dissimilar to us. And, you know, I've been to an England game, and quite frankly, you know, I think that maybe they are actually quite dissimilar, and they do respect community property.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. God almighty. Well, that is... Yeah. It's not that surprising, I guess.
And it's everywhere. It's all over Twitter. All over Twitter, just people being racist about it.
Of course it is.
And people smearing people.
You go on.
And people smearing Motin Ali, saying that he is doing the rioting when he is explicitly not doing it.
Yeah.
Because he's brown, and because he was the one who was filmed saying Allahu Akbar when he won his election to the council, as if that's just like a universal terrorist saying, rather than just God is great, which is like an Islamic exclamation.
Well, not just that, but what racists don't seem to realise is that he's saying God is great in a different language, but God is great, which is technically the God of Abraham, which is literally the same God as Christianity.
Exactly.
It's literally the same
identical
fucking
god, yeah.
creature. Should that creature exist, I'm not personally convinced myself, but if it does, it's your god too. You fucking
And on
knob.
top, actually, the very next tweet that we've seen down, that one you just showed us there, sorry.
Which one? That one?
Showed the world the consequences of mass immigration. You give them a home and you give them benefits. I'm like, what benefits? You haven't. Again, there's this idea that somehow all brown people are on benefits.
You have no idea of the employment status of any of these people at all. Ungrateful scroungers. You don't know anything about the economics of these people. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's like some dodgy stat going around saying that like 60% of Muslims are on benefits, which is completely untrue, just completely fabricated, but they've all treated it like received wisdom now when it comes to this shit.
Yeah. Although Martin Ali comes out of this looking very fucking good. Yeah.
I mean, again, this is what's important. I mean, in a broad scale, this is what's important about being active in your community as a political representative. You know, that guy there on the TikTok live saying Martin Ali from the Green Party, you know, if you continue to have your name within your community when these things happen, right? There's a reason why people warmed to Jeremy Corbyn when he was the first person on the ground at Grenfell after the fire happened, and people despised Theresa May because she waited days to come down.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Oh, Tommy Robinson, again, another prick who lives in fucking Spain. Definitely cares about the country, though. Muslims are rioting across Leeds. No, it's Romanians, mate. It's mostly Romanians.
Muslims are the one trying to stop the riots, actually, Tommy.
Yeah. But that doesn't fit in with your grift narrative, does it? Maybe if you come back from the Costa Brava at some point and actually pay the fucking bills you owe, maybe I'd have a little bit more respect, but you know.
Yep.
It's fucking wild shit, though. Jesus. Not a policeman in sight. Yeah, because the Tories cut them all.
See, the go up. So they go up one sec. Another next one.
Oh, next one. Oh, Ollie London. Ollie London of the Botox overdose.
Absolutely. Max Headroom himself.
Yes.
Out here saying that the Muslims are rioting, which is untrue, and also posting the picture of Martin Ali from when he won the council seat, and then literally smearing him as being a rioter when he isn't. Now that's that's libel, right?
Yeah, I hope Martin Ali gets good legal representation, because there are a lot of people committing very significant slander and libel against him. Yes.
I mean, actually, I guess technically it isn't, because he's not directly implicating him, but saying this is the town's newly elected councillor. So it's an implication, I guess. Even so, it's certainly a smear. It's definitely a smear on his character that he should be associated with something else. You can see the person's white smashing the screen in the video that he's playing here.
Yeah, it's literally Romanian people. Although they'll also then just use that to be racist against Romanians, I guess. I suppose from the right wing's perspective, you know.
The video literally pans round to a man with a white face.
They're these are white people. These are like Romanian guys and gals. Look. Mad. Jesus. Got anything else? What's this? Councillor Salma Arif. I don't know what party that is. Inspector Nichols, the riot incident in Hare Hills between police and Romanians. Salma is a Muslim woman trying to calm the situation. She deserves credit. Yeah.
Let's have a listen.
Yeah, hang on.
This is Councillor Salma Arif. I'm here with...
Hello, my name's Inspector Ali Nichols. I'm the East Leeds Neighbourhood Police Inspector.
There is an ongoing situation currently in Hare Hills. We're aware of that. The police is here. We are asking everybody in the area to please stay at home at this moment in time.
Yeah, so if you can all just stay where you are, stay in your houses. We will manage this, and if you're out in the crowd, if I could just ask you to go home, please, so we can keep everybody safe. Thank you.
And we will endeavour to keep local residents informed. Thank you.
Thank you.
See, that's one of the rare occasions a white guy will say to Romanians, "Go home," and in a not racist way.
Quite so. She's from the Labour Party, by the way. So okay. Look at that. When it comes to actual politicians being on the ground, the ones trying to calm the situation, who actually are getting their hands dirty, it's Labour and Greens. Like, Again, I would say where are the reform councillors, but they haven't got any.
Yeah, yeah, they're in America. Anyway, the far right are peddling misinformation, naturally. Yeah, so they're full of shit again. As migrants riot in Leeds, Bangladeshis are rioting in one of the biggest Muslim ghettos in Whitechapel, London, according to Tommy Robinson. I don't know if this is this rioting? Oh, hang on, that's... Okay. Hang on, what difference does it make if they shot someone in Bangladesh? People who can protest. Oh, here we go. Ollie London. R.I.P. England, 927 AD to 2024. Dickhead. We had much bigger riots than this.
Brixton,
Toxteth. Fucking the 2011 riots. That spread across the country. That was in every fucking major city. And loads of little towns. Which is always funny. 20 people rioting is a laugh. But anyway. Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? 927 AD. Shut the fuck. Yeah, look, this. We survived the Black Death, 2 World Wars, smallpox, Ed Sheeran, and deindustrialisation, but won't survive a bus in Leeds getting set on fire. Fanny. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Oh, Tommy Robinson doing his racism. Allahu Akbar. Apparently I'm supposed to be scared by that.
And now this is a direct accusation that he's rioting.
Yeah.
The new elected councillor for the area rioting tonight. It sounds like he's saying that he's rioting, which is the opposite of true. But
yeah, I think that is actionable. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this is not legal advice, by the way. I just want to point that out.
No, but I don't think it would take a massively brilliant lawyer to make that case. This is not a third world country. This is Leeds, England. Ollie London, fuck off, mate. I thought you were transracial anyway. Aren't you supposed to be South Korean? Didn't you decide to be South Korean? Why are you speaking on behalf of England, mate?
There's literally Mobden Ali in that video pouring water over
literally
the fire.
Buckets of water onto the fire to stop it. But apparently the Muslimics are the bad guys? Okay.
Politics of the subcontinent when you put fires out.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't realise that all of the fire brigades in the country are from the subcontinent. Did you know that? Fact.
True.
The Roma community are right. Well, I haven't seen evidence that they're specifically Roma. Just because they're Romanian doesn't mean they're all Roma. But anyway, are rioting after social services removed 5 children from parents after a 7-month-old baby was taken to hospital with a head injury. They've attacked the police and are setting everything on fire. Bring in the British Army. Okay, babe.
And that's from Ali Javed as well.
True, but this is the internet, so that's probably a white guy called Dave on his burner. Ironically. Hails Leeds from someone called Palestinian. Leeds has fallen. Love it. Leeds has fallen. You know what? Good. If it annoys you, good. I hope Leeds has fallen, you pricks. Fucking hell. Twitter is worthless. Absolute rubbish. Fucking hell. Just got to Leeds. I've underestimated it.
We've got a Black Hawk down. Yes, I'm in Mogadishu and I need to hurry.
Oh, Mogadishu. Oh, so just racism. Okay, cool. I thought that was actually someone in Leeds. Apologies.
Is there a Somali community in Leeds?
Who knows? They're just being racist, I think.
True.
Oh, brown people are here. It's just like Mogadishu. Oh, hang on, here we go.
Okay, this is somebody explaining the thing.
Wow, an actual thing that might be worth listening to. Romanian father explains why the police took his 5 children by force, which led to the riots in Hare Hills, Leeds. Okay.
This guy is not been home. Yeah. Okay, he's been work. One of child is dropped on the floor. Okay, by other kids. All right.
Yeah.
The kids is not cry. when mom is come back to see the kids, he's not see anything what's happened. After one day, on the morning, to see the kids is swollen on his head. Every parent he has action what's going on.
Yeah.
The kids is been to the hospital, okay?
Yeah. Been checked out.
They check out.
Full X-rays. Yeah.
If the question is, if the parents they knows these things he did himself, do you think the parent take the kids to the hospital?
Definitely not. No.
Not, okay?
It's not usual.
The officer who is in charge, yeah, is refusing to investigate. Okay?
Yeah.
We send email, we did complain, everything by legal law. Still they no answer.
Again, so it's the same story. The authorities refuse to even engage with the local people on the ground. Then when you try and take their 5 children from them, yeah, they might react unfavourably to that outcome. It's the same story as always. The British establishment shitting on people and then going, whoa, why have they reacted in this way?
Apparently a child was thrown from a window by a sibling and gained a serious head fracture.
Okay, that's
social
rough.
services.
Yeah.
Yes, so social services moved the 5 children afterwards, and then this started. That seems like a big overreaction.
Does seem a bit much. Yeah. Like, look, and clearly they're not. It's not a matter of neglect because, like they said, they took the kid to the hospital. So a kid did a stupid thing, injured another kid. The responsible adults did the responsible thing by taking sick child to hospital. Is that neglect? I don't know. You should be taking 5 kids away from people for that.
Probably difficult for us to be able to do anything but speculate. At
A
this
little
point.
bit, yeah. But considering some of the things that we know child services have let go, which are, I mean, amount to torture and murder of children, basically, not intervening over the years. Perhaps because of all of those sorts of stories, they're overreacting now. Who knows?
People that try to give evidence what's going on. What happened? The officer say to the parents on the extra children, they say, you try to kill yourself, your kids.
Yeah.
How can you say, I'm trying to kill my kids? This is all this happened. So they take the kids.
Today?
Yes.
By force?
By force. Okay? They take the kids by force. On the social worker, they make the paper and lie, but no anyone investigate if they do the right paper.
Yeah, it's biased. It's all one-sided.
Not.
Yeah.
Everything is fake. On the police, on sergeant from the Ellen Road, he did it, and he say, I don't care no anyone they can do to me. Because the government, I minister, they no investigate them.
Yeah.
Can you send message by the government to see what's going on? Because all this is being fraudulent.
Interesting. It definitely fits with the general pattern of how these riots start. Relatively small thing that could have been sorted out in a more peaceable fashion is allowed to fester, and then resentments that exist because of things like austerity, but not exclusively so, end up with people exploding. Yeah, it's happened before. Oh, he's the twat setting the bus on fire. Actually, he does look like he might be Muslim, or at least subcontinental, whatever.
Well, that's the father that we just saw. The guy in the green t-shirt.
Yeah.
There you go, yeah. Just giving him a backslap.
That's not ideal. Oh, you twats. I mean, this is how you get exploded, you prick. Fucking Jesus Christ, some people, man. What are you doing? Like, just, I mean, also, like, I'm not suggesting ways in which you should do criminality, but doing
doing it on camera, right?
Without a mask or anything, like, motherfucker, like, you are going to jail. You do know that, right? Like, there's no look, there's his phone. You are going to jail, sir. Enjoy your time.
That's what the person tapping on the shoulder is saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yes, yeah. I'll see you in 5 years at least. Mate.
Wow. Videotaping this crime spree is the best idea we ever had.
True. Councillor Mothin Ali. Is this another angle? Hang on. Who's the white woman?
It's like Nadine Dorries.
It does look like Nadine Dorries. I was about to say, yeah. She's like, this will make Boris look bad. Stop it. Oh yeah, did you see Dorries' fucking tweet about Boris Johnson has Trump's ear? Absolutely.
No.
Oh, you missed that. Oh god, we've got to look at that. Hang on. She literally did, man. She's a fucking lunatic. There he is. Just put Dorries' ear. Surely that'll come up. There you go, Nadine Dorries. Breaking news: Johnson has Trump's ear.
In a box.
Yeah, absolutely mint. And the thing is, as a joke, that would be very funny. But I think she's stupid enough that she didn't even get it. Like she literally just thinks like, oh yeah, he listens to Boris Johnson, so I'll just use that phrase about his ear because she's an idiot. In case you didn't know.
True. True.
Anyway.
Well, it's now 1:30, and it's quite
Yes.
it's quite late.
Yeah. Indeed. So I'm gonna fuck off. Yeah.
me too.
Thank you for joining. And all the rest of it.
That was a very interesting one there. I was not expecting to do analysis of ongoing riots this stream.
Well,
But
we have. Honestly,
hey-ho.
the end of our streams are exciting. There's an assassination. There's a riot. Who knows? Whenever we're together, chaos happens.
Also, like Monkey or Not, sorry, excellent comment to finish the stream with. Nadine Dorries was in Leeds trying to privatise Channel 4 in person at their new offices.
True. Oh, unbelievable. Honestly, the fact that she made it into the cabinet should give everyone hope. Because if she can get
It's
there,
true, it's
every
true.
fucking daft bastard could. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, like Nadine Dorries is just like peak memes. I can't even hate her. I can't even hate her.
Oh no, she is. Oh no, she's banned. Yeah. Without
She's super exactly.
Just completely without understanding it. Like it's that, and which sort of makes it better. It's like David Brent. He doesn't understand why he's stupid, and it's like that with Nadine Dorries. It's the fact that she's so unaware. It's like if a cat could speak. Just idiocy.
Yeah.
Just fucking nonsense, and not having any self-awareness whatsoever. She is the political equivalent of a cat licking its arsehole in front of the TV.
True.
She really is. Anyway, on that bombshell. Oh yeah, we did
Everyone
miss
go- everyone-
Obama telling Joe Biden via proxy that it's over. So
And
like,
Pelosi as well.
yeah, like come on, Joe, just let it go, mate. Come on.
Now is exactly the time to do it. Get people stop talking about the ear.
Exactly. And people will stop going on about what a fucking deluded old man you are. Because you won't be relevant anymore, even though you're still technically president for 6 months.
Because you'll lose the election and be the most hated man in America. Do you really want that? Joe?
Exactly, don't do that. You don't need that on you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although I suppose if he steps aside and they lose, there'll be all these fucking hand-wringing liberals going, "See, we told ya." Yeah, you show someone else shit. What can you say? Stop putting up only shit candidates, DNC. Fucking hell. Anyway.
Anyway, should we raid into cosmopolitics? She seems like
Yes.
she needs the hand at the moment.
She's good people as well.
Oh, it's true. That's true.
Go and check out Cosmopolitics, who is a politics streamer and all of that stuff. American, but don't hold that against her. And I will. I'll be back probably tomorrow. I don't know if Christy's back yet. She was in Amsterdam the other day. She's been on her travels all over the place.
Yeah, tomorrow's my day off, so I'll
Yeah.
be back on. I'll be back on.
So yeah. So
I'll be back on. So I might stream tomorrow if I'm bored. I might stream tomorrow anyway.
Okay.
But yeah.
I was going to steal your
YouTube.
refugees, but there might not be refugees. Who knows?
Yeah,
You
true,
can come
true,
over
but,
in your
if I do-
dinghy across the channel of Twitch to
The Twitch channel.
Yeah, to my Twitch channel. Yeah.
Exactly. I think probably if I do stream, we'll be in during the day anyway. So I'll
Yeah,
definitely,
we
there'll
probably won't.
be
Yeah.
there'll be
Crossover.
evening refugees.
True.
But YouTube viewers, I'm going to send you into President Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you very much, everybody. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Take care. Everyone go follow Careful Local 175.
Everyone go follow No Justice. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road, back again. Travel down the road, back again. It's true. You're a pal and a confidant. You're a pal and a confidant.
Yo, the based MTG and Camp Logan. Thank you both for the raise. Raiders, welcome in. It's your girl Cosmopolitics. You see that I stream politics and pop culture from a left-wing perspective. We chill, we chat, we react. Raiders, we're reacting to the RNC, and I'm gonna get drunk. And do that thing I do with Ray people streams. You know the thing. Please feel to like what the fuck am I?